Known as the god of death of Konoha, this video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351, Chunin Exam. 4 Purple Flame Formation. Open. A Togakya, once an extremely weak ninja village, is different now. With 4 shouts, a purple barrier appeared in the dense forest next to a Togakya. But the barrier was fleeting. Very good. It's worth my investment in you for so many years. This time, you will be one of my greatest helpers. A cold and hoarse voice came from the mouth of a beautiful girl. This girl has purple eyeshadow and snake-like vertical pupils. It was Orochimaru, who disappeared for a long time and researched the reincarnation of the corpse. It is an honor for me to serve Lord Orochimaru, the 4 weird-looking guys said respectfully and piously. Orochimaru smiled, twisted his slender waist, and his figure gradually disappeared. Orochimaru came to a dark secret room. Teacher, let me get to know you personally this time. Minato, I wonder how you have been doing as the Hokage over the years. And you are my friend who understands me the best. I wonder if I can send you to the Pure Land myself? Orochimaru said to himself, and then continued to fiddle with those bottles and jars. Oh my god. This novel is so good. It is so many times better than Jiraiya's LSP. Bai Yu was leisurely reading a very popular novel called The So-Called Konoha Death God on the computer. The author, named Mustard with Chili, is so cute. Bai Yu was very fascinated by it, but the updates were so slow. Only 2 updates a day, which was a bit annoying, but this could not hide Bai Yu's love for this novel. After reading the 2 chapters that had just been updated, Bai Yu stretched his body, looked at Balin playing with his toys in the distance, and smiled slightly. Bai Yu was stunned for a moment, then showed a helpless look. Sure enough, the easy days are all lies. If there is something, you must come to me. It's all lies that you don't come to me when there is nothing important. Bai Yu complained in his heart. In the courtyard of Bai Mansion, Moonlight Gale appeared in the courtyard quietly. Gale, what's wrong? Is there something? Bai Yu asked directly without waiting for Moonlight Gale to speak. The voice seemed very soft, but Moonlight Gale in the courtyard heard it clearly. Teacher, Lord Hokage is looking for you. There is something important to discuss. Moonlight Gale said respectfully in the courtyard. Ah. Don't worry, come in. Have a cup of tea and chat. Bai Yu said leisurely. Well, teacher, the disciple will visit you another day. I'm on duty today. Moonlight Gale said awkwardly, touching the back of his head. Boring. I don't know why Xian, that little girl, likes you. Go quickly. Bai Yu said unhappily. Goodbye, teacher. Moonlight Gale awkwardly performed the instant body technique and disappeared. Bai Yu stretched again, typing quickly on the keyboard with both hands, leaving a message for the lovely Wasabi with chili peppers. Wasabi, I'm Bai Yu. I advise you to update more, otherwise, I will send Madara to knock on your glass. Bai Yu hit the enter key, nodded with satisfaction, and turned off the computer. He walked to the stairs and shouted upstairs, King Cheng, come down for a moment, something's up. Swoosh, a fragrant breeze passed by Bai Yu. A beautiful figure appeared in front of Bai Yu. What's wrong, brother? King Cheng looked around and asked in surprise. Bai Yu usually wouldn't call her that. Well, your 3 sisters-in-law couldn't stay and went to the dragon group to torture those guys. Kia and Jaoa went to do the mission. Jinga and Haoa also followed Shizu to do the mission. I also have to go to the Hokage building to take care of something, so, Liner is left to you. Goodbye. Bai Yu said, and his figure disappeared, not giving King Cheng any chance to refuse. Looking at Bai Yu's disappearing after image, King Cheng's pupils gradually dilated. King Cheng looked at Balin, who was having fun, smiled helplessly, cursed Bai Yu in his heart, and became a temporary breeder. Bai Yu walked to the Hokage building with a turtle step, swaying 3 times, knocked on the door of Minato Namikaze's office, and then pushed the door open. Only the old guy Sarutobi Hirozen was inside. I'm here. I'm sorry to tell you that your leisurely days are gone. Minato Namikaze saw Bai Yu and greeted him with a smile. Well, I've been mentally prepared for this. Bai Yu said casually, while sitting in the empty seat opposite Minato Namikaze. You, take a look at this first. Sarutobi Hiruzen handed Bai Yu a scroll and said. Bai Yu opened the scroll and looked at it, but didn't buy a single one. What's going on? 4 villages jointly taking part in the Chunin exam. Shouldn't it be 5 villages? What's going on? Why are there only 4 villages? What about the Mist Village? Bai Yu asked in surprise. The Wind Shadow, the Raikage, and the Rock Shadow jointly announced that they have excluded the Mizukage. Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. Bang! Bai Yu slammed the desk to pieces in excitement. What do you mean? Have you grown wings? I don't mind taking a walk and teaching them a lesson. Bai Yu said angrily. What does this mean? Damn it. Are you deliberately trying to put a dent in my eyes? You knew that I was protecting the Mist Village, but you excluded it. Isn't this a slap in my face? In the past, the 5 major countries in the ninja world jointly held the Chunin exam. This exam was very important. Although the joint exam represented a microcosm of war, the exclusion of the Mist Village meant that the Mist Village was not up to par, not worthy of being their opponent. I knew you would be like this. You. Namikaze Minato looked at the wood residue on the ground, touched his forehead helplessly and said, what have you studied? Bai Yu asked immediately after hearing it. This time in the Chunin exam, Minato will represent Konoha, the top village in the ninja world, to the Mist Village to participate in the Chunin exam of the Mist Village. You and I will stay in Konoha, and I will be responsible for representing Konoha in the Chunin exam with the other 3 major ninja villages. You are responsible for the safety of Konoha. This time, Konoha is the host of the Chunin exam. The 3 village shadows came to Konoha at the same time, so you have to come forward. Sarutobi Hiruzen said seriously. That's it? I'm going to take a stroll around the 3 villages now. Teach them a lesson. Bai Yu said, and was about to jump out of the window with the dragon sword. Wait a minute. You, after so many years, why do you still fight whenever you see one? Are you so intoxicated by fighting? This time, you really can't go. There is a special reason. Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. Oh. What special reason? Bai Yu asked standing at the window, with an attitude that, if you don't give me a satisfactory answer, I will go for a stroll. The 5 major daimyo prefectures have united, including the Land of Water. Konoha is not afraid of economic wars, but although the Mist Village has experienced rapid development in recent years, it is far from being economically independent. Moreover, the 5 major countries plus the 3 major ninja villages, as well as the rebel ninjas and some excellent ninjas secretly cultivated by the 5 major countries on weekdays. This force cannot be underestimated. Even if you are an elephant, but there are too many ants, will you feel uncomfortable? Even if you are strong and can kill dozens of heads with one sword, what about thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of heads? Can you kill them all by yourself? Even if you can kill them all, it is estimated that the Mist Village would have fallen long ago, and Konoha would also be severely damaged. Sarutobi Hiruzen said lightly. Upon hearing this, Bai Yu clenched his fists, then snorted and sat back in his seat. Chapter 350 Kakashi is dead. For Bai Yu, even if all the ninjas in the ninja world come, he is not afraid. Bai Yu is definitely capable of killing people and making them bleed like a river. But as Sarutobi Hiruzen said, Konoha village has his 3 wives, 5 children, and a bunch of disciples, good friends and good brothers. This is the bond that makes Bai Yu sit quietly in the chair and study strategies. I know, the village's safety issue, right? Leave it to me. Can you kill people? Bai Yu said lightly. When they don't threaten Konoha, you can't take action. After all, it is still a joint Chunin exam for 4 villages in name. Namikaze Minato said seriously. Bai Yu looked at Namikaze Minato and nodded, without saying anything. After Namikaze Minato, Bai Yu and Sarutobi Hiruzen talked about precautions for a while. The meeting ended. The next day, Hatake followed Namikaze Minato and set off for the Mist Village. A sunny day. I'm going out, Mom. Uzumaki Naruto hurriedly ate breakfast and shouted to Kushina. Then he hurried out. Uzumaki Naruto followed Hatake Kakashi, Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke in the morning, and after completing a cat catching mission, they came to the hall for the task handing in. Why are there always such boring missions? I'm almost sick of doing them. Uzumaki Naruto said in a frustrated tone. Okay. What is the next mission for Team 7 led by Hatake Kakashi? Is it to take care of the elderless children? Or to run errands in the next village? Or to help civilians dig the ground? Sarutobi Hiruzen said thoughtfully, holding a pipe in his mouth, looking at the task list in his hand leisurely. Impossible. I don't want to do such boring missions anymore. I want powerful missions. Uzumaki Naruto jumped out and shouted with an unhappy face. It seems to make sense. Hearing what Uzumaki Naruto said, Uchiha Sasuke agreed in his heart. Really, idiot. Why can't I be in the same class with Sasuke-kun alone? Hiruno Sakura thought silently with an unhappy face. Hey, I guessed that this guy would be like this. Hatake Kakashi helplessly looked at Uzumaki Naruto throwing a tantrum. Bang Iruka, who was sitting next to Sarutobi Hiruzen, slammed the table with an angry look on his face. You guys are just ninjas who have just become genin. Everyone grows up slowly from the simplest tasks to accumulating experience. Iruka said with a serious face. But, bang. Uzumaki Naruto was about to say something with an unhappy look on his face, but Hatake Kakashi calmly stretched out his right hand and hit Uzumaki Naruto on the back of his head. Naruto, stop it. Hatake Kakashi said lightly. Missions have levels. Ninjas like you who have just been promoted to genin can only receive D-level missions. If you complete more D-level missions, you may be assigned to C-level missions. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette and said calmly, Humph. We are not children anymore. We have grown up. We have to accept more difficult missions. Uzumaki Naruto said with a serious face. After Uzumaki Naruto finished speaking, he turned his head to the side. Iruka and Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled slightly. The scene was quiet for a while. Haha. In that case, I'll give you a C rank mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Haha. Let's go. I didn't expect the C rank mission to be so simple. It's just to protect this uncle, to go to the land of waves. Wahahaha. Uzumaki Naruto stood at the entrance of the village, laughing wildly, and shouted excitedly while laughing. Is it really okay to assign the mission to these little brats? I don't know how good your Hokage's eyesight is. Is it really okay? Desna, the protector of this mission, said in a low voice with an uneasy look on his face. Don't worry, there will be no problem with me, a senior ninja. Hatake Kakashi said confidently. Hey, uncle. Are you looking down on me? Uzumaki Naruto jumped up immediately after hearing this, shouting wildly with his teeth and claws bared. But he was caught by Hatake Kakashi. Uzumaki Naruto could only kick his legs in the air. After Uzumaki Naruto calmed down, everyone began to embark on the journey. The road they took was more obscure, not a big road, but just a small path in the forest. The bright sun shone on everyone, making them feel warm. Plop, everyone passed by a puddle of water. Kakashi Hatake, who was leading the group, narrowed his eyes slightly. Then he calmly paid attention to Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Hiruno behind him. Sasuke Uchiha frowned slightly, Naruto Uzumaki looked confused, and Sakura Hiruno didn't change at all. Ha. Kakashi Hatake retracted his gaze, and smiled slightly behind the mask. He deliberately slowed down, and walked to the end. When everyone had completely walked past, the puddle of water changed. Two people jumped out of it. These two people had a respirator on their faces. They had a claw on their hands. There was an iron chain covered with sharp blades on the claw, connecting the two people together. It happened in a flash. Kakashi Hatake, who was at the back, was shocked and said softly, "What?" He was locked tightly with an iron chain by two people the next second. Pachi Hatake Kakashi turned into a blood mist! Exclamation mark. The first one. The two people said cruelly. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hiruno Sakura, who heard the noise, turned around suddenly and saw that Hatake Kakashi was killed. Everyone was shocked. Damn it. Teacher Kakashi. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto recalled the scene when they were attacked by the rock village. They cursed at the same time. Hiruno Sakura covered her mouth in disbelief, her face full of horror. Asshole. Uchiha Sasuke was the first to rush up, cursing angrily, and a shuriken appeared in his hand at some point, but the two people cleverly bypassed Uchiha Sasuke and went straight to Uzumaki Naruto, who was standing there. The second one. The two people moved quickly and smoothly, and said cruelly, The chain was like a hanging rope, and it was about to lock Uzumaki Naruto. At this moment, it was Uchiha Sasuke who blocked the chain, did a split in the air, and kicked the two people back. The two looked at each other in tacit understanding, and rushed to the target of this mission, Dazna. Protect the target. Protect. Although Hiruno Sakura was terrified, her body still moved and guarded in front of Dazna. Damn it, I should have thought of it earlier. Uchiha Sasuke frowned when he saw this, and quickly came to Hiruno Sakura to help her resist the attacks of the two people. Sasuke-kun. Looking at Uchiha Sasuke's back, Hiruno Sakura's heartbeat accelerated. At this moment, her heart was full of security. Damn it. Bastard. Uzumaki Naruto's eyes suddenly turned red. The tail beast coat appeared instantly, stretched out two claws, and was about to grab the two people. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared between the two people, and a headlock was killed. Exclamation mark. Directly squeezed the two people unconscious. Chapter 353. Damn Kakashi Sensei. The person who appeared between the two people was Hatake Kakashi. Teacher Kakashi, you are not dead. Sakura Hiruno shouted when she saw Hatake Kakashi's happy face. Uzumaki Naruto turned around suddenly and saw pieces of wood lying where Hatake Kakashi was killed. Stealing the limelight. TSK. Uchiha Sasuke said inwardly. Yo. Sorry, Naruto, I got you hurt. But you all performed very well. Sasuke was the first to take action to rescue the teammates who were about to be threatened. Sakura protected the mission target. Seeing that the teammates were threatened, Sasuke stepped forward again. At this time, Naruto finally took action to attack the enemy. Very good. But Naruto, your reaction is a bit slow. Hatake Kakashi said calmly, while sandwiching the two people. I react slowly? How is it possible? Humph. Uzumaki Naruto blushed and said something cunningly, then glanced to the side. But why do I feel numb in my hand? Uzumaki Naruto took a look at his hand, and it was really injured. When? By the way, at that time, the chains of these two guys were about to tie me up, but they were kicked away by Uchiha Sasuke. Under the influence of the impact, the chains rebounded a bit, and then the sharp blade cut my hand. Dear Sasuke, I really want to thank you very much. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Sasuke with a face full of resentment, but he soon returned to normal. After all, if it weren't for Sasuke, it might not be as simple as a hand being cut. It seems that his reaction is really a bit slow. Bah, how is it possible? Exclamation mark. Just when Naruto was thinking, Hatake Kakashi had tied up the two ninjas wearing the Mist Ninja forehead protectors on their heads. Oh, by the way, Naruto, the chains these two guys carry should be poisonous. You have to expel the poison from your blood in time, otherwise it will be very troublesome. Hatake Kakashi glanced at Uzumaki Naruto and said lightly. Exclamation mark. Uzumaki Naruto heard this and looked at his hand. Oh my, the injured part of Uzumaki Naruto has turned black and is spreading around. In a panic, Uzumaki Naruto took out his shuriken and stabbed it at the back of his hand. Puff blood spurted out from the wound. If the bleeding is not discharged in time, detoxification powder will be used. I'm too lazy to deal with this kind of troublesome care, so I can only let Sakura do it for you. HMM. It seems that it is not necessary, but now you should stop the bleeding in time. Too much bleeding can easily kill you. Hatake Kakashi then said leisurely, but when he saw Uzumaki Naruto hit him, he said HMM and continued. Ah. Damn it. Goddamn Kakashi teacher. What should I do? What should I do? Hearing this, Uzumaki Naruto's face turned the color of liver, anxiously shouting and dancing. Idiot. Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but smile softly and then quickly returned to normal. Because of his smile, Sakura next to him was about to faint. Sasuke looks so handsome when he smiles. Super handsome. Hey please, stretch out your hand. Hatake Kakashi walked to Uzumaki Naruto and squatted down helplessly. Seeing Uzumaki Naruto's wound, Hatake Kakashi suddenly looked serious. Because Uzumaki Naruto's wound began to heal by itself, although the speed was not too fast. Is this the power of the Nine Tails? Hatake Kakashi said in his heart. Okay, no problem. Hatake Kakashi said with a smile, and then began to bandage Uzumaki Naruto. No problem. Why are you so serious? Uzumaki Naruto said with an unhappy face. Hatake Kakashi gently pressed on Uzumaki Naruto's wound. Ah. It hurts. Be gentle. Uzumaki Naruto looked at the blood oozing from the gauze and was in so much pain that he almost cried and said weakly. Hatake Kakashi gave Uzumaki Naruto a pair of smiling dead fish eyes in return. How did you find out about our actions? The two tied up mist ninjas stared at Hatake Kakashi and asked coldly. It hasn't rained in the past few days, but there is a puddle of water on the ground. Isn't this very suspicious? Hatake Kakashi said with a smile. Ah. I thought it was a wild beast in the mountains peeing there. Uzumaki Naruto said with sudden realization. Hearing Uzumaki Naruto's words idiot. Hiruno Sakura rolled her eyes and couldn't help cursing. Humph. Uchiha Sasuke felt embarrassed and moved aside to show that he didn't know Uzumaki Naruto. However, the tailed beast coat that Uzumaki Naruto showed just now and the two sharp claws that the tailed beast coat stretched out made Uchiha Sasuke have to seriously analyze Uzumaki Naruto's true combat power. You obviously know everything. Why do you still let these kids participate in the battle? Dasna frowned and asked Hatake Kakashi. Because I want to know who these guys are targeting. Are they targeting us ninjas or the target characters? Hatake Kakashi said coldly to Dasna. Dasna didn't say anything when he heard this, but his eyes shrank slightly. But I can be sure now that these guys are targeting you. This mission is no longer C level. Missions involving ninjas will be upgraded to B level. Hatake Kakashi said coldly again. Yes, this mission is not something we can do. Naruto is still injured, so let's go back. Hiruno Sakura said in a deep voice. The last one. Uchiha Sasuke did not speak, but when he passed by Uzumaki Naruto, under the gaze of Uzumaki Naruto, he took a look at Uzumaki Naruto's wound, and then said 3 words softly. Damn it. Bastard. It's just a B-level mission. What's there to be afraid of, Sasuke? I'll let you see this time whether I, Uzumaki Naruto, am the last one. Also, I remember Uncle Bai Yu said that in this case, you have to pay extra money. Uzumaki Naruto was stimulated by Uchiha Sasuke and immediately became anxious. Huh? When did Teacher Bai Yu say that? Hatake Kakashi heard Uzumaki Naruto's words and quickly recalled Bai Yu's teachings in his mind. Okay, no problem. Dasna sighed. In this situation, he had to say this. Everyone rested for a while and continued on their way. Taking advantage of the fog, everyone took a small boat to the land of waves. What a thick fog. I can't see the surroundings at all. Hiruno Sakura looked around and frowned. We can almost see the bridge. If we walk along the bridge, we will reach the land of waves. The boatman looked around vigilantly and said in a low voice. As soon as the voice fell, a huge bridge appeared in front of everyone. Wow. What a big bridge. Uzumaki Naruto couldn't help but exclaimed loudly. Hey. Keep your voice down. I took advantage of the fog to drive the boat here. Turn off the engine and row with your hands. It will be over if those guys see us. The boatman said vigilantly and then looked around. Uzumaki Naruto immediately covered his mouth. Hatake Kakashi narrowed his eyes and looked at Dasna. Chapter 354 Momochi's abuser appears. Mr. Dasna, I have something I must ask. Who attacked you and why were you attacked? Otherwise, our mission will probably end when you get ashore. Hatake Kakashi said calmly. Dasna was silent for a moment. Everyone looked at Dasna. Well, now that things have come to this, I will tell you. My life has been targeted by a super scary person. Dasna said calmly. Who is it? Hatake Kakashi asked. Kado. Dasna said calmly. Kado? The rich man of the shipping company? But he should not be the richest man now. The richest man now should be Mr. Bai Yu. Hatake Kakashi was stunned for a moment, then asked. The second half of the sentence was said by Hatake Kakashi in his heart. Yes, on the surface he is the boss of the shipping company, but behind the scenes he uses wandering ninjas to do some shady things. For many years, he has used dirty means to monopolize the shipping business of Wave Country. I'm a bridge builder. Think about it. What do I represent to him? Dasna said, flashing past memories in his mind. If Wave Country wants to communicate with the outside world, it must go out and build bridges to communicate with the outside world, and then it can only rely on shipping companies. Uncle, you are an obstacle to Kado, Hiruno Sakura said. In this case, you can definitely increase the mission reward and upgrade the mission level. Hatake Kakashi said. Wave Country is a poor country and cannot afford a higher reward. If it weren't for you, I would definitely be killed before I get home. It doesn't matter. Even if I die, only my 8-year-old granddaughter will cry for me, and then my daughter will hate Konoha village all her life. No, it doesn't matter. After all, you are not wrong. Dasna first cried poorly, then pretended to be free and easy and laughed loudly. Hearing this, Uzumaki Naruto, Hiruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hatake Kakashi were stunned for a moment, feeling a little reluctant and lost in thought. Hatake Kakashi scratched his forehead protector and said helplessly, "Forget it, let it be. There is really no other way, so we will continue to protect you." "Oh, really? I'm so grateful," Dasna said with great gratitude, but he laughed secretly in his heart. Sure enough, I won. I knew these guys were soft-hearted. We are almost there. This is what the boatman said lightly. Not long after, the warm sun rose and the fog gradually dissipated. Uzumaki Naruto saw the scenery of the land of waves, and an intoxicated expression appeared on his face. It was really beautiful. This is simply a city on the water. Okay. Please send me home safely, Dasna said with a smile. Yes. Everyone responded to Dasna casually. Not long after they walked, they came to land. Last time it was a Chunin, maybe the next time it's a Jonin. What a trouble. Hatake Kakashi looked helpless, staring at a pair of dead fish eyes, and thinking to himself. Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke walked in front. Looking at Uchiha Sasuke's cold expression, Uzumaki Naruto curled his lips and thought to himself that he would never let you steal the show this time! Exclamation mark. Swoosh. Uzumaki Naruto quickly rushed to the front and took out a shuriken in his hand. Everyone saw it and hurriedly alerted the surroundings. Here, Uzumaki Naruto looked serious and quickly threw out the shuriken in his hand, and the shuriken flew into the bushes next to him. The scene suddenly became quiet. It turned out to be a rat. Uzumaki Naruto said righteously. It's obviously nothing. Okay. Why are you showing off for no reason? Hiruno Sakura couldn't help but scolded. Naruto. Don't use shuriken casually. It's very dangerous, you know? Hatake Kakashi also said angrily. Little brat. Don't attract so much attention. Dasna couldn't help scolding. Idiot. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his trouser pockets and said 2 words. But Uzumaki Naruto didn't care. I see a figure here. No, it's over there. Uzumaki Naruto was still looking around, muttering. At this moment, Hatake Kakashi suddenly felt something was wrong. This was the feeling of being watched. He looked in one direction without making a sound. It's here. Uzumaki Naruto shot out a shuriken again. Bang. I told you not to use shuriken casually. Hiruno Sakura couldn't help it and hit Uzumaki Naruto on the back of his head. Said angrily. Hiss, I really feel like someone is watching us. Uzumaki Naruto said with a constipated look on his face. Hatake Kakashi walked towards the bushes where Uzumaki Naruto shot out the shuriken and walked in. Hiruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto, who looked constipated, followed him in. All they saw was a scared white rabbit lying at the root of the tree, with a shuriken shining coldly inserted 2 fingers away from his head. Seeing this, Hiruno Sakura immediately glared at Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto, look at what you've done. Hiruno Sakura gritted her teeth and said, trying to hold back her anger. Ah, little white rabbit. Uzumaki Naruto saw the little white rabbit, with an apologetic look on his face, ran to the little white rabbit, picked him up and said, sorry little white rabbit, I didn't mean it. What? It turned out to be a rabbit. Dasna said with a sigh of relief. However, Hatake Kakashi's expression became serious, but no one knew it, because of the mask. No, it's a snow rabbit. This fur color. It should only live in the winter, when the daylight hours are very short. It seems that someone has raised it indoors without sunlight, specifically to use it as a substitute. Hey, it's finally here. Hatake Kakashi pondered for a moment with a helpless look on his face and sighed. But he didn't know that there was a pair of eyes on the tree not far away, watching them. No wonder the Ghost Brothers failed. It turned out that Konoha Reiga Hatake Kakashi was there. The person hiding in the dark said secretly in his heart. Swoosh. Hatake Kakashi, who was originally in deep thought, suddenly felt something was wrong. Everyone get down. Hatake Kakashi shouted. Everyone was startled, but they quickly got down. A big knife flew over from a distance, like a death wheel. But everyone got down in time, and was not injured. The big knife hit the tree heavily. There was a person standing on the blade. When Hatake Kakashi saw this person, his eyes narrowed. He walked over leisurely. Hey, isn't this the Mist Ninja Rebel Momochi's abuser? The beheading big knife. Hatake Kakashi said leisurely. Here he comes. He really comes. Hehe, finally there is a chance to suppress Sasuke. Huh. What do you mean by rebel? Never mind. Uzumaki Naruto said excitedly in his heart. Then Uzumaki Naruto rushed up. Haha, that little Momochi. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Before Uzumaki Naruto could finish his heroic words, he was stopped by Hatake Kakashi. Teacher Kakashi, Uzumaki Naruto asked in confusion. This enemy is different from the last one. This guy is an elite jonin of the Mist Ninja and a rebel. You guys stand back and leave it to me. Hatake Kakashi slashed his wrist, and a beautifully shaped single-edged long sword appeared in his hand. Exclamation mark. Chapter 355. The fierce battle begins. Hatake Kakashi placed his sword on his left elbow and stared coldly at Zabuza Momochi. You guys take care to protect Mr. Dazna. Come on, Zabuza Momochi. Hatake Kakashi said calmly. Haha, what an honor. I didn't expect to be able to fight with the famous Konoha Reiga so early in the ninja world, but I advise you to hand over that old man to me first. However, it seems that I should deal with you first, before I can kill these little ghosts. In this case, stop talking nonsense and start. As Zabuza Momochi spoke, fog gradually rose in this space. Then, Zabuza Momochi kicked the tree with one foot, jumped up, and landed on the water. What's going on? It's so foggy. Hiruno Sakura looked around and said with a frown. Be careful, this guy. Before he defected to the Mist Ninja, when he was in the Enbu of the Mist Ninja, he was best at killing people silently. Hatake Kakashi said vigilantly. As soon as the voice fell, Zabuza Momochi appeared in everyone's sight. He raised one hand and made a seal with the other hand in front of him and said lightly, Ninjutsu, Mist Ninja technique. Then, the fog around became thicker, greatly interfering with the sight. This is silent killing. Under the cover of the fog, hide yourself. When people react, you have already been killed by Zabuza Momochi. Hatake Kakashi explained briefly, and then looked around vigilantly. Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hiruno Sakura were not idle either, and they protected Dazna tightly. Throat, aorta, heart, liver, waist, tut. So many fatal points. Where should I attack? What kind of death is worthy of Konoha Reiga? Momochi's abuser's words came out in the fog, very empty. At the same time, an astonishing murderous aura enveloped Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hiruno Sakura. The fear that reached the extreme, and they wanted to use suicide to get rid of this fatal fear, enveloped everyone except Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi was not a pushover either. His dead fish eyes narrowed sexily, and a fierce murderous aura was released from his body. The murderous aura was like a wild horse that had broken free from its reins, blowing away the fog around him. Uchiha Sasuke, who was caught in the middle of the two murderous auras, suddenly had an urge to die, because Uchiha Sasuke was just caught in the middle. Am I going to die? Uchiha Sasuke couldn't bear it and whispered. Don't worry, you won't die, as long as I'm here, and I won't let you get hurt. Hatake Kakashi turned around and said with a smile. Hearing this, Uchiha Sasuke was stunned. Really? Hehe, sorry, I'm going to slap you in the face. Momochi's abuser's voice appeared in the ears of Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hiruno Sakura. The three of them glanced at him in horror. Zabuza Momochi, with a white bandage on his face, held the beheading sword across his back and smiled cruelly. The next second, Zabuza Momochi moved, and Uchiha Sasuke, who was closest to the blade, felt the stinging pain of his skin being cut by the sharp blade. At this moment, bang, a blue-purple light flashed in the eyes of the three people. Then a strong collision sound and impact force pushed Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto away. The blue-purple light did not stop, and it took Zabuza Momochi far away before stopping. I saw Hatake Kakashi and Zabuza Momochi fighting chakra and strength. Is this the strength of the teacher? So scary. Uzumaki Naruto was shocked by the scene just now. This speed, this accuracy, this amazing murderous aura. Is this the strength of a Jonin? Uchiha Sasuke was also shocked by the strength of the two. Although the two have seen many Jonins sparring, they were all sparring. This kind of real fighting scene is the first time they have seen it. Teacher Kakashi, so handsome. Haruno Sakura looked at Hatake Kakashi with admiration. As expected of you, you are the Raiga of Konoha. Hatake Kakashi, you are really amazing. But you will die today, Momochi's abuser said fiercely. Really? Storm release, Storm Blade. Hatake Kakashi said lightly. Then a strong blue-purple light burst out from the abdomen of the two people, and there was a sound of lightning compression that made people's teeth ache. Momochi's abuser's pupils shrank. When? Exclamation mark. Momochi's abuser was stunned for a moment, then looked down and saw that Hatake Kakashi had a short blade in his hand and stabbed it into his abdomen fiercely. When was the little short blade that teacher Bai Yu gave me when I was a child? I didn't expect it to come in handy. Hatake Kakashi said with a smile. Haha. Do you think you can kill me? Momochi's abuser no longer had a look of despair on his face. A ferocious smile rose on his face. Kakashi Hatake suddenly looked at Zabuza Momochi's wound, only to see that it was not blood that flowed in the wound, but water. Teacher Kakashi, you're back. Be careful. Uzumaki Naruto was the closest to hear and could see it clearly, so he shouted loudly. Momochi's abuser suddenly appeared behind Kakashi Hatake and suddenly swung the beheading sword in his hand. Sure, the beheading sword passed through Kakashi Hatake's waist, but it only cut the afterimage. Afterimage. Momochi's abuser's pupils shrank, and the dangerous stinging feeling made Momochi's abuser turn around on the spot, using the impact of the sword to drive his body and kick to the side. Bang! A huge force kicked Hatake Kakashi, who had just appeared. Hatake Kakashi held the long sword horizontally in his hand, and his left hand was on the sword. This huge force directly kicked Hatake Kakashi into the water in the distance. When Hatake Kakashi emerged from the water, he said in confusion, "Why is the water so heavy?" "Because this is a water prison technique." Momochi's abuser appeared behind Hatake Kakashi's left at some point and said with a smile. Hatake Kakashi's pupils shrank when he heard the words. He was instantly wrapped by a water bowl and couldn't move. His eye was careless. This is trouble. Hatake Kakashi's heart sank. Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, take Mr. Dazner and run. Hatake Kakashi shouted hurriedly. Escape, haha. Can you escape? Just relying on these little ghosts? Momochi's abuser said arrogantly. After that, a water clone of Momochi's abuser appeared in the water. Slowly walked towards Uchiha Sasuke and the other two. Escape? How is it possible? Now we can only fight. Uchiha Sasuke frowned, gritted his teeth and shouted, and quickly rushed towards Momochi's abuser. While running, he quickly threw out various shurikens and kunai. However, it was just in vain. Momochi's abuser slashed with a look of disdain. Not only was the hidden weapon blocked, but Sasuke was also knocked away by this knife. Fortunately, Sasuke blocked the sharp blade with a shuriken, otherwise he would definitely be cut in half. Chapter 356 Naruto and Sasuke! Exclamation mark. No. At the moment, when Uchiha Sasuke was knocked away, Momochi no longer moved. In an instant, he arrived in front of Uchiha Sasuke, and the cold blade went straight to Uchiha Sasuke's face. Uchiha Sasuke's pupils shrank, and he had no time to make any moves. Sasuke. At this moment, memories of the past filled Uzumaki Naruto's mind. Uzumaki Naruto shouted, and a claw formed by red energy dragged Uchiha Sasuke to Uzumaki Naruto's side. Little Momo, I will let you see today that Konoha's genin is not easy to bully. Uzumaki Naruto's resolute eyes stunned Uchiha Sasuke. Play the battle song BGM! Exclamation mark. When did this guy become so reliable? Exclamation mark. Uchiha Sasuke said in his heart, and then immediately came back to his senses. How could this guy be allowed to take advantage of this kind of limelight? I'm the strongest beta king! Exclamation mark. Uchiha Sasuke roared in his heart, and his Sharingan opened in seconds. Huh. This the brat of the Uchiha family, Zabuza Momochi looked at Uchiha Sasuke and thought to himself. Sasuke, I have a plan. Uzumaki Naruto leaned his face towards Sasuke and whispered. His eyes were fixed on Zabuza Momochi, but when he heard what Uzumaki Naruto said, Uchiha Sasuke instinctively turned his face away. This unintentional turn was embarrassing. Uzumaki Naruto also quickly looked at Uchiha Sasuke with horror, and Uchiha Sasuke also looked at Uzumaki Naruto in horror and helplessness. The two people were about the same height, but Uzumaki Naruto's upper lip was pressed against Uchiha Sasuke's lower lip, and Uchiha Sasuke's lower lip was pressed against Uzumaki Naruto's upper lip. NGM stopped abruptly. Exclamation mark. Hiruno Sakura was petrified when she saw this scene. Exclamation mark. The whole person turned black and white. Even Zabuza Momochi was stunned. Naruto, you evil guy, let Sasuke go. Let me do it. Hiruno Sakura roared in her heart. Why are you so close? Uchiha Sasuke pushed Uzumaki Naruto away and said angrily. This is mine, damn it. I didn't mean it. Uzumaki Naruto saw Uchiha Sasuke's look, feeling a little guilty, and hurriedly explained. You don't have to explain. I won't forgive you. Uchiha Sasuke wiped his mouth with his clothes, and glared at Uzumaki Naruto and shouted. This style? Exclamation mark. Could it be, my god? Hiruno Sakura was imagining endlessly in her mind at this moment. No, you don't have to. We are all gentlemen. It's just a mistake. Come here, I'll tell you my plan. Although Uzumaki Naruto was a little unhappy in his heart, this is also mine. But Uzumaki Naruto felt that it was his own mistake, and he resisted the unhappiness in his heart, and approached Uchiha Sasuke and said, don't come over. Just say it there. Uchiha Sasuke took a step back and said vigilantly, are you sick? Battle plan, battle plan. What if that guy hears it? Uzumaki Naruto couldn't stand it, and put his arm around Uchiha Sasuke's shoulders, and started talking about the plan next to Uchiha Sasuke's ear. When Uchiha Sasuke was hugged by Uzumaki Naruto, he tensed his body. But when he heard the plan that Uzumaki Naruto talked about, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Remember to do this. Uchiha Sasuke said coldly. Humph. The more Uchiha Sasuke looked at Uzumaki Naruto, the more unhappy he became, and he couldn't help but snorted coldly. Sasuke, are you sick? What are you going to do? I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. Uzumaki Naruto also looked at Uchiha Sasuke unhappily. He was really sick. I wanted to leave it to Sakura, but I didn't expect it to be yours. Uzumaki Naruto said with an unhappy heart, and made a seal with his hands. Multiple shadow clone technique. In an instant, thousands of Uzumaki Naruto instantly pounced on Momochi's abuser. Momochi's abuser was drowned in the crowd. But the next second, this group of Uzumaki Naruto was knocked away by Momochi's abuser. That's it? Ha. Momochi's abuser said disdainfully. And Uzumaki Naruto was knocked away, and landed right next to Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke. Take it. Uzumaki Naruto handed Uchiha Sasuke a Fuma Shuriken. HMPH. Uchiha Sasuke looked at Momochi's abuser with a stern look in his eyes. He raised the Fuma Shuriken high, and with a shake of his hand, it split into 4 petals. Go to hell. Uchiha Sasuke turned around on the spot and quickly shot the Fuma Shuriken at Momochi's abuser. The angle was not tricky, it was just an arc, flying straight towards Momochi's abuser. Momochi's abuser looked at it, and didn't think there was any conspiracy, because the level of genin was about this. Genin is genin. Aren't they easy to bully? Haha. It's so funny. The Fuma Shuriken seemed to fly into Momochi's abuser's hand by itself, and was firmly grasped by Momochi's abuser. Laughing wildly. At this moment, Zabuza Momochi had completely let down his guard, because in his eyes, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke were just 2 little brats, and ignorant brats at that. But the next second, Zabuza Momochi's pupils shrank. Because there were 2 Fuma Shuriken. The other one bypassed Zabuza Momochi and shot straight at Zabuza Momochi's body. Is this Shadow Clone Shuriken technique? Sakura Hiruno, who was far away, saw this scene and said in a daze. Seeing this, Kakashi Hatake narrowed his eyes and a gleam of light flashed. "Good boy!" Exclamation mark. Kakashi Hatake couldn't help but admire in his heart. Zabuza Momochi's body also froze when he saw this, but the next second, Zabuza Momochi jumped lightly. The Fuma Shuriken passed under Zabuza Momochi's feet. Haha. That's it? Zabuza Momochi laughed wildly again. Oh no. Sakura Hiruno sighed in frustration. No, the breath just now is so familiar. Hatake Kakashi narrowed his eyes, sensing something was wrong. Boom, the Fuma Shuriken that flew behind exploded, and after a cloud of white mist, it was Uzumaki Naruto. Ha ha ha. Little Momoko, I'm here. Are you surprised? It's not the Fuma Shuriken, but my genius super plan. Die. Uzumaki Naruto's eyes flashed with a look of success. 2 shuriken appeared in his hands. One shot at the back of Zabuza Momochi's head. The other shot at Zabuza Momochi's wrist. BGM sounded here. Exclamation mark. Zabuza Momochi's eyes flashed with anger. He had to lift the water prison technique to avoid Uzumaki Naruto's shuriken. Hatake Kakashi also seized the opportunity, transformed into a blue-purple light, and tangled with Zabuza Momochi's body. Seeing this, Uzumaki Naruto also took the opportunity to run back to Uchiha Sasuke. 2 damn little brats. Zabuza Momochi's clone looked at Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke with murderous intent in his eyes. He roared angrily and rushed towards Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke waving his beheading sword. Chapter 357 Storm Escape. Heavenly Punishment. Sasuke. Let's go together. Uzumaki Naruto shouted to Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha Sasuke was still upset at this time, and he didn't care about Uzumaki Naruto at all. He snorted coldly and rushed up. Sasuke, you are really sick. Just like a little girl. Can't I let you kiss him back at most? Uzumaki Naruto was furious when he saw Uchiha Sasuke's reaction, and couldn't help but curse. Idiot, shut up. Don't say anything else. Do you believe I will kill you if you say it again? Uchiha Sasuke turned around and cursed at Uzumaki Naruto. Be careful. Uzumaki Naruto's pupils shrank. Momochi's abuser speed was so fast that he approached Uchiha Sasuke in an instant. Sasuke-kun. Hiruno Sakura really wanted to rush up to block this fatal blow for Uchiha Sasuke at this time, but she still had to protect Asuna behind her. Hiruno Sakura stared with wide eyes. Dad, I haven't learned the special skills you taught me yet. What should I do? Uzumaki Naruto's mind was spinning rapidly, thinking quickly. At this moment, it seemed as if everything was in slow motion. Naruto, feel the wind. The ultimate wind. Namikaze Minato's smile and this sentence suddenly appeared in Uzumaki Naruto's mind, repeating over and over again. Repeating over and over again. Wind. That's right. Dad's wind instant body technique. That's right. Uzumaki Naruto's eyes lit up. But I didn't learn it. Uzumaki Naruto was just happy for a moment, and then thought with disappointment. The ultimate wind. These 4 words suddenly appeared in Uzumaki Naruto's mind. The ultimate wind? Uzumaki Naruto immediately closed his eyes thoughtfully. Swoosh, Uzumaki Naruto clearly captured the wind around him. The next second Uzumaki Naruto appeared in front of Uchiha Sasuke, facing Momochi's abuser. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Momochi's abuser with a smile. The BGM became loud again. The tail beast Kotri appeared. Uzumaki Naruto's eyes turned red, and the 6 whisker-like marks on his cheeks deepened a little. Uzumaki Naruto's teeth also became sharper. HMPH. Uzumaki Naruto controlled the power of the 9 tails, and repelled Momochi's abuser with 1 claw. Uchiha Sasuke was not idle either. Uchiha Sasuke has always been an opportunist. He will never let go of any opportunity to defeat the enemy. The Sharingan in his eyes quickly moved. Uchiha Sasuke clearly caught the movement of Momochi's abuser. Fire escape. Great fireball technique. Uchiha Sasuke's hands turned into shadows, and finally his chest expanded, and then a hot ball of fire spurted out of his mouth. Water escape. Water dragon bullet technique. Although this is the clone of Momochi's abuser, his strength is not comparable to that of a genin. Even if Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke are excellent, they are still a little worse than Momochi's abuser. Storm release. Heavenly punishment. Just as the water release and water dragon bullet techniques were extinguishing Uchiha Sasuke's fire release, incomprehensible words were heard in the distance. Boom crack. Boom, a blue-purple muffled thunder fell from the sky. The landing location was where Kakashi Hatake and Zabuza Momochi were fighting. This gorgeous muffled thunder, it attracted everyone's attention. The next second, Zabuza Momochi's clone turned into a pool of water. After a while, a huge electric current rose from the water surface, where Kakashi Hatake was. Countless fish were electrocuted on the water surface. Idiot. You still want to use water release and the great waterfall technique. Don't you know that water can conduct electricity? TSK. Kakashi Hatake stood on the water, looking at the stunned Zabuza Momochi floating on the water, and said with disdain. He put his left hand in his trouser pocket, put the beheading sword behind Zabuza Momochi with his right hand, and then carried Zabuza Momochi back to Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. You did a good job. But you two seemed to have a quarrel just now. Is this also part of the plan? Hatake Kakashi asked with a smile. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto blushed instantly. They looked at each other. HMPH. Both of them snorted unhappily, then turned their heads to the side, not looking at each other. Hiruno Sakura also looked at the backs of the two people with a weird look. Swoosh. Swoosh. Just after the scene calmed down, two sounds of breaking through the air appeared. Zabuza Momochi's neck was pierced by two senbon. Zabuza Momochi, who was originally unconscious, suddenly opened his eyes, widened his eyes, and his pupils began to expand rapidly. Hatake Kakashi threw Zabuza Momochi to the ground and looked coldly at a figure standing on the tree. Who are you? Hatake Kakashi asked. I'm from the special forces of the Miss Ninja. Sorry, I have to take back the body of the rebel ninja Momochi's abuser. Please forgive me. Your battle should be over. The visitor was not very enthusiastic, but his enthusiasm was not high. Yeah. Hatake Kakashi looked at the mask worn by the visitor for a while, and then nodded. Thank you. The visitor was relatively small. He carried Momochi's abuser and ran away. Hatake Kakashi looked at the departing figure and fell into deep thought. He always felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell. Teacher Kakashi, who is that guy wearing a mask? Hiruno Sakura asked curiously. That is a member of the Miss Ninja Special Forces. Every village has one. After the death of a ninja in each village, there will be a special force in each village to deal with the body. Because the body of a ninja will reveal a lot of information, such as the nature of chakra and what kind of medicine he has taken. There will be inquiries. Hatake Kakashi patiently explained. Then everyone began to escort Dasna home. But not long after walking, Hatake Kakashi fell straight to the ground. Teacher Kakashi. Surprised shouts X3. In an uninhabited forest, Zabuza Momochi lay on the ground with his eyes open, his pupils out of focus. Sitting next to him was the masked man who had just taken Zabuza Momochi from Kakashi Hatake. The masked man took out his tools and spread them out on the ground. But at this time, Zabuza Momochi sat up from the ground. He violently pulled out the senbon on the back of his neck. Then he looked at the masked man. You're awake, Mr. Zabuza. The masked man said respectfully. Well, Bai, how long do you plan to wear the mask to disguise yourself? These two senbon are really cruel. Zabuza Momochi said calmly. Bai took off the mask, and his beautiful face like a woman looked at Zabuza Momochi with a smile. Next time, I will never be careless. Kakashi. Zabuza Momochi removed the bandage on his face and said coldly. Where am I? Hatake Kakashi opened his eyes and looked around, saying softly. You're awake, Kakashi sensei. How do you feel? A plain looking woman walked in and said to Hatake Kakashi. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Beiheyo, have you ever been blessed? Exclamation mark. It's okay. I used too much force yesterday. I'm sorry to embarrass you. Hatake Kakashi said apologetically. It's okay. I'm glad you're okay. I'll go make you something to eat. the woman said with a smile, then turned and walked out. The days passed, and Hatake Kakishi's Team 7 also set out on the return journey. Looking at the name of the bridge, Naruto Bridge, with the farewell of Dazna and his group, Hatake Kakashi, Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke left behind a dashing back. There will definitely be a battle on the way back, except for Hatake Kakashi, Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. They were all thinking about the last battle. Hatake Kakashi vs. Momochi's abuser, and that Haku vs. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. The good friends surprisingly did not quarrel or use dirty tricks, and worked together to defeat Haku. Finally, under the powerful mouth trick of Uzumaki Naruto, Momochi's abuser killed Kado, and lay beside Bai's body, dead. However, Naruto and Sasuke's lip fusion technique was performed again. The two people who had a harmonious relationship, because of the battle, the resentment broke out again. No one paid attention to each other. The one who gained the most from this mission was Haruno Sakura. Although Naruto and Sasuke performed the lip fusion technique, it was obvious that Uchiha Sasuke's attitude towards Haruno Sakura softened a bit. This made Haruno Sakura very happy. Two flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. Some are happy and some are worried. Looking at Haruno Sakura's appearance and some small changes at Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto was secretly sad. But Uzumaki Naruto will definitely not give up so easily. On a sunny morning, a young man, two teenagers, and a girl sat at the entrance of a small village. They were Uchiha Shisu, Baiheyo, Tachibana Naruki, and Baiing. Brother Shisu. This mission is too easy. Protect this village from bandits. It's been a few days, and there's not even a trace of a bandit. Baiheyo said boredly as he inserted the long sword in his hand into the ground, and pulled it out, back and forth. Wait and see. The information should be correct. The newspaper said it was within a week, and today is only the third day. Uchiha Shisu said with a smile. Come on. Let me kill some. It's better to have a few Chunin and Jonin. Otherwise, it won't be fun. Baiheyo said boredly, while lying on the grass with his head raised. Old Heyo, you should have a good mouth. Ju Yang frowned, put his hand on the hilt of the sword, then quickly stood up, and looked around vigilantly. Baiing also kicked Baiheyo in annoyance, snorted, didn't say anything, and also looked around vigilantly. And Uchiha Shisu looked at the woods in front of the left calmly. In his heart, he cursed Baiheyo for being such a bad mouth. Because just now, as soon as Baiheyo finished speaking, three relatively strong auras came from the left. The auras from the right were a little weaker, but there were 5 auras. And there were some faint footsteps in front of him, and judging from the number, there should be a lot. Haha, come on, I'm going to kill everyone today. Kang Muang. Baiheyo drew out the big sword from his waist and shouted excitedly. You're such a bad mouth. Pa. You're going to call yourself the master. Pa. I'll let you kill everyone. Pa. These 3 heavy slaps made Uchiha Shisu and Tachibana Yang feel much more comfortable. Baiing also sensed these auras, and felt unhappy, so she slapped Baiheyo's back of the head heavily. What are you doing? Third sister. It hurts. Baiheyo was almost crying after being slapped, and said aggrievedly. He rubbed the back of his head. What am I doing? Do you know what this means? We only accepted a C level mission, and the current situation is a B+ level mission. 3 Jonins, 5 Genin. A bunch of disorganized bandits. Baiing said unhappily. Is it my fault? I asked them to come. Isn't it just a coincidence? Baiheyo said helplessly. Blame you. Blame you. Humph. Baiing thought so too, but Baiing still used super ninjutsu. I'm the unreasonable ninjutsu. Baiheyo was speechless, because of Baiing's appearance. Yes, blame me, what else can I say? Blame me no matter what. However, Ju Yang on the side looked at Baiing's appearance and couldn't help but feel that Baiing was so cute. Ahem, we are on a mission, what am I thinking? Ju Yang quickly adjusted his mentality in his heart. Then he looked around vigilantly to prevent sudden attacks by ninjas. Okay, let me tell you. Leave the 3 Jonin to me. You go to fight the 5 Genin. Remember to hold them back. Heyoa, you go to fight the thieves. Remember that you are the fastest in swordsmanship, so you must deal with these thieves as soon as possible, then help Aang, and finally come back to support me. Jinga, you attack from a distance. Pay more attention to Aang first, but also pay more attention to Haoa. Uchiha gave instructions based on the characteristics and strength of each person. Several people knew that this was a critical moment. Without hesitation, they responded and took action. Uchiha slashed his wrist, and a long sword with a cold light appeared in his hand. This long sword was longer than the standard long sword. The next second, Uchiha figure gradually disappeared. The name of instant body Shizu is not called for nothing. The second person to act was Bai Yu. Bai Yu made a sword flower, smiled evilly, licked his lips, and rushed to the weak chicken in front. Ju Yang did not hesitate, and directly activated the power of blood. With Bai Yu, the problem of consciousness is no longer a problem. Ju Yaojing is a perfect example. Bai Yang opened his eyes and slashed his wrist. A beautifully shaped longbow appeared in his hand. Although Bai Yang can now use chakra to condense a few arrows, it is only a few, which is still not good enough. So Bai Yang has 2 bracelets on her wrist, one for the longbow and some daily necessities, and the other is full of arrows. If these arrows are taken to reality, they can fill a small room. It can be seen how much Bai Yu prepared for Bai Yang. Bai Yu took a brisk step and came to the front of the thieves. It was quite like a one-man guard 1,000-man can't open, and you are all noobs with a sword. Stop right there. Bai Yu raised his head and shouted arrogantly, using chakra to spread the sound far away. Every thief could hear it. Ha! It's a ninja. Oh my god, there are ninjas in such a small village. No, look at this kid, he should be just a genin. There are dozens of us, and we can't kill a genin kid. Yes, we'll kill him with a bunch of people. There's nothing to be afraid of with so many of us. Just hack him to death. Go. Oh my god. Exclamation mark. This scene is wrong. Why are the thieves so fierce? Shouldn't they flee in panic when they see the ninja? Although Bai Yu looked surprised when he saw this scene, he was not panicked at all. Chapter 359 Hasek. Stop right there. Bai Yu slashed out a sword energy in an extremely cool manner. Although it was not as magnificent as Bai Yu's, the transparent and invisible sword energy also cut off several thieves in half. Now, the thieves finally showed a look of fear. They all stopped. Go. The boss said, we will slaughter the village, we will choose the women first, and we will take the money first. He is just one person. It is impossible for him to kill us all. Charge. As the saying goes, there must be brave men under a big reward. All the thieves roared again and rushed towards Bai Yu. Bai Yu arrogantly pointed his long sword at the ground. He shouted loudly, "Third sister, shoot the one who just spoke." After Bai Yu shouted, he looked coldly at Thief who had just made the thieves regain their confidence. His face was full of pride. When the thieves heard it, they looked around vigilantly. Is there anyone else? Exclamation mark. But after waiting for a long time, there was no movement. Third sister? Bai Yu frowned and looked to the side behind him. A beautiful figure ran towards Ju Yang without even looking at Bai Yu. While running, she also glanced at Bai Yu coldly. Oh my god. Third sister, you have no humanity when it comes to the opposite sex. Bai Yu said helplessly in his heart. But this is normal. Even if there are twice as many thieves like this, Bai Yu can handle it. Bai Yang is very clear about Bai Yu's strength, otherwise, she would not ignore Bai Yu. This guy is scaring us. Kill him. Go. Looking at the thief surging again, Bai Yu had no choice but to rush up with a sword. I wanted to pretend to be cool, but the third sister was inhumane. Noobs. Face the gale. Hasake. Bai Yu shouted funny, with an evil smile on his face. Although Bai Yu's words are a bit slutty, his swordsmanship is still very reliable. Invisible and transparent sword energy danced in the crowd, slashing around wantonly. There was a smell of, I'm in the weeds, holding a harvester, frantically harvesting the surrounding weeds. Not long after, a strong smell of blood rose. Bai Yu smiled evilly and spit with disdain. He ran towards Ju Yang. But in a moment, Bai Yu ran back from Ju Yang's direction, cursing, and ran straight to Uchiha. Everyone, are you still in love? The tacit cooperation between you and me. Are you shooting an idle drama or a romantic martial arts drama? Bai Yu ran away cursing. This wave of dog food was really unexpected. Because Bai Yu just ran over, he saw Ju Yang, who was full of blood, fighting with 5 genin like a berserker. Bai Yang shot cold arrows around Ju Yang from time to time, sometimes 3 consecutive shots, sometimes 3 arrows at once. That output completely prevented Ju Yang from being attacked. Moreover, when someone approaches Bai Yang, he will be repelled by Ju Yang's sword. This is like the top laner and the shooter. The top laner is the front line, and the shooter is the back output. Once 3 big men jumped out of the bush, the top laner did not hesitate to flash back and move to contain them, so that the shooter could flash and move and continue to output. Brother Shizu, I'm here. Bai Yu shouted, and quickly observed the battle situation. 3 Jonins have been killed by Uchiha Shizu. It is more than enough for Shizu to seize an opportunity. Heyoa, don't act rashly, wait for the opportunity. Be careful. Uchiha Shizu said quickly, and then continued to fight with the 2 Jonins. Bai Yu watched the battle coldly for a while, and he couldn't help but get angry in his heart. This is too bullying. Isn't this just kite fishing? A wretched 2-on-1. A wandering ninja used ninjutsu to consume Uchiha Shizu in the back, and the other wandering ninja, although fighting with Uchiha Shizu, would retreat, attack, advance, and defend. This is to make Brother Shizu exhausted. However, Brother Shizu's strength should be more than that! However, Bai Yu did not think too much, and directly joined the battle with the big sword. Although Bai Yu's strength is not very strong now, his exquisite swordsmanship and sharp sword energy can also cause some troubles to the wandering ninjas from time to time. After a while, swoosh, 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 the sound of 3 arrows shooting, 3 arrows fired at the same time. The tricky angle and amazing shooting speed forced the 2 Jonin to step back and jump out of the attack range. Bai Yang and Ju Yang also came over. Bai Yu was immediately unhappy when he saw this. He quickly stood between Bai Yang and Ju Yang. Oh, I'm so tired. Bai Yu pretended to be tired and said. In fact, Bai Yu was just unhappy that Ju Yang was so close to Bai Yang. You are fine, Liu Yang. I treat you as a brother, but you want to be my 3rd brother-in-law. Humph. Bai Yu said in his heart without any expression. Liu Yang, go. I'll take a break. Bai Yu patted Ju Yang on the shoulder and said, yeah. Ju Yang, this simple and honest boy, although he has become more discerning and knows more under Bai Yu's influence, he is still a boy with a pure heart. Ju Yang nodded, his blood and ki became thicker, and then he rushed up. Are you tired? How come I can't see it at all? Bai Yang looked at Bai Yu suspiciously. Bai Yu pinched his thigh calmly, and the severe pain made his face pale instantly. What do you think? Bai Yu said, while enduring the pain. This time Bai Yang believed it, and hurriedly helped Bai Yu to sit aside, asking questions with concern. Bai Yu wanted to laugh, found a dead corner, and pinched his thigh again. Hiss, I'm fine, sister, I'll adjust it. Go and help. Bai Yu accidentally pinched it too hard. He said with a wry smile. Are you really okay? I see you look like you are in pain. Bai Yang said anxiously. If Bai Yu was here, she would never be easily deceived by Bai Yu. Bai Yu's perception is many times higher than Bai Yang's. I'm really fine. Go quickly. Bai Yu paused for a while, waited for the pain to subside a little, and the blood color came up a little, and said with a smile. Okay then. Bai Yang looked at Bai Yu's face, said something, and then remotely assisted Uchiha Shizu and Tachiban Aruki. Uchiha Shizu was far away, and his pair of Sharingan had already seen through everything. Just as Bai Yu guessed, Uchiha Shizu's ability was more than that. In fact, Uchiha Shizu also wanted to take this opportunity to hone Bai Yu, Bai Yang, and Tachiban Aruki more. Otherwise, Uchiha Shizu would have directly opened his big power and Susanoo would have been powerfully opened, and the battle would have ended long ago. However, under the pair of Sharingan, Bai Yu's series of actions had long been seen by Uchiha Shizu. After Uchiha Shizu's analysis, he looked at Tachiban Aruki and Bai Yang. A slight smile on the corner of his mouth. This stinky boy. Soon, Uchiha Shizu was deliberately attacked by a ninjutsu, then flew to Beiheio's side, glanced at Beiheio, and slowly closed his eyes. Beiheio's eyes turned red when he saw this scene, and he went up with the big sword in hand. Uchiha Shizu smiled slightly, opened his Sharingan slightly, and watched everything happening around him. Long before being attacked, Uchiha Shizu used the swordsmanship taught to him by Bai Yu to eliminate 9/10 of the ninjutsu, but the play was very real. Chapter 360 Yellowish Orange. These 3 Jonin level wandering ninjas were just perfect for Beiheio, Tachiban Haruki, and Bai to practice with. When Beiheio and the other 2 were a little exhausted, a figure passed by the 3 Jonins. The 3 Jonins covered their necks with their hands in disbelief, looking at the blood spurting out in horror. Finally, they slowly fell to the ground. Then Uchiha Shizu began to summarize the battle, as if nothing had happened. Beiheio pouted beside him. Okay. Waste my feelings. Nothing happened. It was so realistic. I was careless. The mission was perfectly completed. After Uchiha Shizu got the mission certificate from the village chief, he took Tachiban Haruki, Beiheio, and Bai back to Konoha village. The perfect performance and combat effectiveness of the 2 groups were recognized by Sarutobi Hiruzen. These children said they were very happy, especially Bai and Beiheio. When they returned home and told Tsunade, Uchiha Makoto, Terumi Mei, and Bai Yu about these things, they received extremely high praise. The 2 children's faces were flushed with joy. But he was still beaten by Bai. It was Bai Yu who ordered him to do it. Fortunately, Bai scolded him a few times. Beiheio went to sleep peacefully with 2 panda eyes, because the idea of fighting above one's level cannot be cultivated. Once you become addicted to fighting above one's level, you will fall one day. Of course, Bai and Beiheio are reasonable. After Bai learned of Baiki's idea, she nodded solemnly and said that she agreed. It's just that Beiheio is more stubborn. So Baiki smiled. Because the difficulty of the 2 teams was upgraded, and they succeeded perfectly, the 2 teams had a week's vacation. A week passed quickly. It was another sunny day. Uzumaki Naruto got up in a daze and patted his face with cold water. The slight coolness made him energetic. After breakfast, Uzumaki Naruto went out in a hurry, because the time for the assembly was approaching. Yoshi. Today is a very motivated day. Uzumaki Naruto shouted in high spirits. He stepped forward and ran to the assembly point. On a small bridge near Konoha village, Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke had been waiting on the bridge for a long time. Good morning, Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto first greeted Hiruno Sakura with a smile. Then Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other. Both had constipated looks on their faces. They both remembered the ultimate ninjutsu, the lip fusion technique, which they performed together. HMPH. The 2 looked at each other for a while, and turned their heads to the side, ignoring each other. These 2 people are here again. These 2 people are not right since they came back from the land of waves. Teacher Kakashi, come quickly, Hiruno Sakura said helplessly. 2 hours later. The sun is still so bright, but Uchiha Sasuke, Hiruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto were all waiting for the late Hatake Kakashi with constipated looks. Good morning. Sorry, I got lost today. Hatake Kakashi finally appeared and said apologetically, hey. Because Hatake Kakashi's reason was too ridiculous, Hiruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto glared at Hatake Kakashi in dissatisfaction. Teacher Kakashi, we performed such a difficult mission so perfectly last time. Will I be able to show my skills in future missions? Uzumaki Naruto said proudly with his eyes spitting fire. Ha. I think I roughly understand what you mean. Hatake Kakashi said with a smile. Then Uzumaki Naruto suddenly turned around and stared at Uchiha Sasuke. Damn guy, it's obviously the first time for both of us, but he made it seem like I owed him something, and he always stole the limelight in every mission. A genius like me, I should be the one who stole the limelight. Uzumaki Naruto said in his heart. Uchiha Sasuke felt the gaze of Uzumaki Naruto. Super idiot! Exclamation mark. He cursed in his heart. After a while, Naruto, it's time to do the mission. Hatake Kakashi shouted from a distance. Got it. Uzumaki Naruto responded loudly. The next task was indeed very difficult. Pulling weeds, walking the dog, picking up trash, etc. Exclamation mark. A few days later, after another mission, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke looked at each other coldly. Damn it. Why do you always want to be in the limelight? Uzumaki Naruto said directly and fiercely. Super idiot. Uchiha Sasuke ignored him and just replied coldly. I have to teach you a lesson today. Uzumaki Naruto rolled up his sleeves and was about to start, but he was stopped by Hiruno Sakura. Naruto, stop fooling around. Hiruno Sakura said helplessly. Hey, the teamwork has been a bit chaotic recently. Okay, it's time to disband, and I still have to submit the mission report. Hatake Kakashi was holding a yellow and ripe orange book in his hand, looking at the teenagers out of the corner of his eye, and said helplessly, well, the person who caused the chaos in teamwork is you, Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Uchiha Sasuke and said loudly, super idiot. You are the one who affects the team. I know that you feel that I have taken all the limelight because I have saved you many times, so you owe me a lot of favors. But what if you are stronger than me? Can you save me? What if I owe you a lot of favors? Instead of shouting every day, you might as well make yourself stronger. Let's go. Humph, I'm in the limelight. What can you do to me? Uchiha Sasuke said coldly to Uzumaki Naruto, but he was very proud in his heart. Uchiha Sasuke's words, every word, were like steel needles, piercing Naruto's heart. Yes, in fact, if you think about it carefully, Uchiha Sasuke is not too much. It's just that icy face and taciturn personality that make people speechless. Why am I so excited? Uzumaki Naruto was stunned and didn't say anything. Hiruno Sakura was a little surprised. It seemed that Uchiha Sasuke was talking so much for the first time. Little did she know that in front of Itachi, Uchiha Sasuke was a chatterbox. Uchiha Sasuke walked forward without looking back. Sasuke. Sasuke. Wait a minute. Hiruno Sakura rushed forward and hurriedly called Uchiha Sasuke. What's wrong, Sakura? Uchiha Sasuke turned around and saw that it was Hiruno Sakura, and his tone softened a little. After all, Hiruno Sakura was innocent, and he couldn't vent his anger on her. Although his tone was still very cold, Hiruno Sakura felt Sasuke's temperature, which was not at absolute zero. That, the two of us. How about we go and improve our teamwork? Hiruno Sakura said softly with a little blush on her face. Uchiha Sasuke didn't speak for a long time, but stood there, looking at Hiruno Sakura. His expression was still cool. But in his heart, he kept wondering, why would I feel happy when Sakura said that? Exclamation mark. I don't feel annoyed by someone who is obviously worse than Naruto, but I feel good to have her around. Uchiha Sasuke thought for a long time, but still had no clue. Seeing this, Hiruno Sakura immediately lost control of her expression and said with a discouraged look, since you don't want to, forget it. Naruto felt a little distressed when he saw Hiruno Sakura's depressed look. Chapter 361. This question is too difficult. Looking at the back of Hiruno Sakura leaving, Uchiha Sasuke felt a little reluctant. No, how could I not bear it? Why? What does she care about me? Exclamation mark. Impossible. No one can stop me from becoming stronger, nor can they delay my own practice. What does it have to do with me, whether she is disappointed or not? Uchiha Sasuke said to himself. Then, really delicious operation. Sakura, then I will treat you to a meal. Is there anything you want to eat in particular? Uchiha Sasuke said with a smile. After saying that, Uchiha Sasuke didn't know why his heartbeat actually accelerated. Hiruno Sakura was shocked when she heard it. Exclamation mark. Suddenly turned around and saw Uchiha Sasuke's smile. Hiruno Sakura was completely stunned. This! Exclamation mark. An inexplicable joy lingered in Hiruno Sakura's heart. Is spring really coming? Exclamation mark. Except natto and desserts. I can do anything. Hiruno Sakura shouted excitedly. Uchiha Sasuke was slightly touched when he heard what Hiruno Sakura said. It turned out that she knew everything he didn't like to eat. Let's go. Yeah. The cold icy rain hit his face randomly. I won't eat this wave of magical dog food. A song of coolness is dedicated to Uzumaki Naruto, who was pale on the spot. Mom. I'm heartbroken. Uzumaki Naruto ran home sadly. Shikamaru. Look, Sakura-an. Shikamaru, the 6th team who just finished the mission, was wandering on the street. Akimichi Choji, who was eating potato chips, looked around bored. Suddenly, the pair of eyes that were about to be squeezed out burst into a terrifying light. Pointing at the smiling Uchiha Sasuke and the shy Haruno Sakura, he shouted to Shikamaru. Shikamaru looked at it, and his heart skipped a beat. He quickly covered Akimichi Choji's mouth. That, Choji, I remembered that I found several good movies. Let's go to my house and watch them. Shikamaru's mind turned quickly, and after saying that, he was about to pull Akimichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino to run to his house. But it was too late. Yamanaka Ino had already turned around. She also saw Uchiha Sasuke and Yamanaka Ino. No! Yamanaka Ino shouted in disbelief. She suddenly rushed towards Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. High forehead, you actually seduced my Sasuke. Yamanaka Ino walked angrily in front of Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, looking at Haruno Sakura and said angrily, pig. What do you mean by seducing? Where did I seduce? Keep your mouth clean. I'm going to have dinner with Sasuke. Don't affect our mood. Haruno Sakura felt so comfortable. She said in a weak way, you. So disgusting. Why are you pretending to be so weak? Yamanaka Ino was so angry when she saw this. Exclamation mark. Pointing at Haruno Sakura and said, Uchiha Sasuke didn't expect it to be so troublesome. He frowned, and a cold expression returned to his face. Sakura, I'll treat you to a meal another day. I'm going back first. Uchiha Sasuke said coldly. After that, he walked towards the practice field where he usually practiced. It's really troublesome. It's better to practice. Uchiha Sasuke thought to himself. Sasuke. Sasuke. Haruno Sakura shouted twice, but Uchiha Sasuke had already walked away. Rage mode turned on. Pig, you are useless today. Haruno Sakura said angrily with red eyes. I'm afraid of you. High forehead. Yamanaka Ino said unwillingly. Well, Sakura, I think you should still be able to eat if you go to Sasuke now. According to my observation, Sasuke should be afraid of trouble, so he left. Shikamaru suddenly appeared and said calmly, really? Haruno Sakura calmed down immediately and said excitedly, it's true. Because I just saw Uchiha Sasuke walking in front of you with a smile. He must want to have dinner with you. But, I think it's still in time for you to go now. Shikamaru felt the murderous look of Yamanaka Ino on the side and swallowed the words "it's just because of Yamanaka Ino" into his stomach and changed his words. I'll go now. Haruno Sakura said excitedly and ran away in the direction of Sasuke. Shikamaru. Whose teammate are you? Which side are you standing on? Yamanaka Ino wanted to chase, but was grabbed by Shikamaru. Of course I'm on your side. I'm doing this for your own good. I have my analysis and my reasons. Shikamaru said helplessly. Then you say it, I'll listen. If you don't like what you say, I won't let you go today. I will use the Yamanaka secret technique to control your body and let you dance tie dance in the most crowded place in Konoha village. Yamanaka Ino stared at Shikamaru and said, is it so cruel? Cold sweat slid down Shikamaru's forehead. Women are really troublesome. Think about it. For such a long time, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura have been in the same class. You can't compare to their feelings. Teacher Bai Yu once said that the one who is close to the water gets the moon first. This is what he told me when we were chatting. So, you have lost the innate conditions. Moreover, Uchiha Sasuke is a taciturn and indifferent person. Once such a person is emotional, it is absolutely the most sincere, and it is unstoppable. Moreover, you forgot that the Uchiha clan got rid of the misfortune in the past, and can be called the clan that understands love the most. I just noticed that Uchiha Sasuke, who always showed a cold face, actually walked in front of Haruno Sakura with a smile on his face. It was only when you arrived that his face gradually became cold. And when looking at you, there was no emotion in Uchiha Sasuke's eyes except trouble. In a word, he has some feelings for Haruno Sakura, but it's just a seed, and maybe he doesn't even know it. Because he is an ice cube. Although this small seed has been planted, no one knows when it will sprout. You're dimmed. Shikamaru's analysis made Yamanaka Ino lose face on the street. The cold icy rain hit my face randomly, and I don't want to bear this wave of magical sadness. Ino, you're doomed. This sentence echoed infinitely in Yamanaka Ino's heart. Ino, you're really doomed. I guarantee it with the brain of my Nera clan. Nera Shikamaru made up the knife in time. I also guarantee it. I guarantee it with the heart of the Akimichi clan that is good at discovering. Ino, you're doomed. I felt a different breath from the two of them. Although this breath is very faint, it has a sweet taste. Akimichi Choji was eating potato chips. God's whip corpse. You too. Woo woo. I know. I actually knew what was going on, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Woo woo. Why are you two so heartless? Yamanaka Ino couldn't help it. She continued to kill and whip the corpse. It was too painful. She ran home with tears in her eyes. True love is as vast as the grassland, and layers of wind and rain cannot block it. This question is too difficult. I can't do it. I can't do it. Exclamation mark. Yamanaka Ino shouted in her heart while running. Seeing this, some people will definitely say, where is the original work? But what I want to say is, the original work is long gone. Killed by Mustard. Exclamation mark. Ha 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 ha. From Mustard's rampant laughter. Chapter 362 Naruto and Hinata communicate by the river. Sakura Hiruno quickly caught up with Uchiha Sasuke, who had a stern face. She quickly hugged Sasuke's arm and said, "Wait a minute, Sasuke." Sakura Hiruno looked anxious, with misty eyes, looking at Uchiha Sasuke pitifully. Uchiha Sasuke just wanted to pull his hand out, but he felt a little softness after a little effort. His face turned slightly red, and he didn't move. But his face recovered instantly. "Well, don't be angry, okay? Let's have a good meal." Sakura Hiruno's face also turned red, and she let go of Uchiha Sasuke and said softly, "Ha. Did you see that? In a bore, I'm still charming." Sakura Hiruno's face was shy and weak, but the Sakura Hiruno deep in her heart clenched her fists and roared with a heroic face. "Okay. There is a store that my brother always takes me to. The wooden fish rice bowls are very authentic. I'll take you there," Uchiha Sasuke said lightly. The tone was a little better than before, not so cold. "Yeah." Sakura Hiruno nodded happily again. Uzumaki Naruto did not go home, but ran to a small river. The heart-piercing sadness made it difficult for him to breathe. Why isn't Sasuke an ice cube? How did he suddenly become enlightened? Exclamation mark. Oh my god. Why? Because of Bai Yu, the Uchiha clan was spared from the disaster of being exterminated. Of course, Uzumaki Naruto didn't know. Little did he know that a girl next to a tree by the river saw Uzumaki Naruto. Her face turned red, and she almost fainted. This girl was Hinata Hyuga, the shy girl who has always had a crush on Uzumaki Naruto. Seeing Uzumaki Naruto's painful expression, Hinata Hyuga surprisingly did not faint because of extreme shyness. Instead, she walked towards Uzumaki Naruto step by step. "Naruto." Hinata Hyuga took lotus steps, walked gently to Uzumaki Naruto, and said softly, Hinata, why are you here? Did the mission just end?" Uzumaki Naruto turned his head and glanced at Hinata Hyuga and immediately calmed down and said with a forced smile, "I was passing by and saw that you seemed to be very sad, so I wanted to come and accompany you." Hinata Hyuga blushed and said with courage. After she finished speaking, her heart was about to jump out. Thank you, Hinata." Uzumaki Naruto was heartbroken when he heard it. "I have liked Sakura for so many years, but I didn't expect that she would not care about me as much as a girl who fainted when she saw me." A trace of sadness flashed in Uzumaki Naruto's eyes. "You're welcome. I'm also very happy to be with Naruto-kun." Hinata Hyuga was stunned after she finished speaking. How could I say what was in my heart? In order not to faint from shyness, Hinata Hyuga could only play with the corner of her clothes to distract herself. Hearing Hinata Hyuga's words, Naruto Uzumaki was stunned. What's wrong with Hinata? Why is she so nice to me? Why? Naruto Uzumaki looked at Hinata Hyuga very seriously. "What's wrong, Naruto-kun?" Hinata Hyuga asked shyly. "Hinata, why are you so nice to me?" Uzumaki Naruto asked curiously. "Well, don't you remember?" Hinata Hyuga felt a little disappointed, but it didn't affect her shy heart. O_O. Uzumaki Naruto said, a little confused. Then Hinata Hyuga told her about Naruto Uzumaki saving her when she was a child. So, from that time on, Naruto-kun's appearance was deeply imprinted in my heart. Ha! Exclamation mark. It's over, I said it. I don't know what happened. I'm so brave today. Hinata Hyuga said in panic. So that's it. I'm really lucky. Naruto Uzumaki felt much better with Hinata Hyuga by his side. After listening to Hinata Hyuga's words, he said with a smile, it should be my luck. If it weren't for Naruto-kun, I would have been bullied at that time. Hinata Hyuga said with a smile. I have to say that Hinata Hyuga's smile is really cute, with an indescribable sweetness. Naruto Uzumaki was stunned for a moment and then smiled. I remember that time, your face was still very round. Hearing what Uzumaki Naruto said, Hyuga Hinata couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. But with what Uzumaki Naruto said later, her heart gradually calmed down. I didn't expect you to grow up and be so beautiful. I'm still so lucky. Uzumaki Naruto said with a smile. No way. Don't talk about me. Why were you so sad just now? If you are willing to talk, I'm willing to be your listener. If you don't want to talk, then forget it. I will just accompany you like this. Hyuga Hinata talked to Uzumaki Naruto for so long, and the shy feeling subsided a lot. I have to say, Hinata, you are really gentle. There is nothing you can't say. I'm optimistic by nature. It's no big deal. Uzumaki Naruto showed the same smile as the 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato, but it was less gentle and more free and easy. Hyuga Hinata blushed a little, because this smile was a bit attractive to her. Uzumaki Naruto told Hinata Hyuga the entire story of his feelings towards Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, without hiding anything. So, I don't know how this guy Sasuke suddenly came to his senses. I always thought that this guy was an ice cube. I didn't expect it. Oh. Forget it. Uncle Bai Yu said that a real man should be able to take it and let it go. In fact, Sasuke did nothing wrong. From now on, I won't be as obsessed with Sakura as before. I'll just silently wish them the best. In fact, Sasuke is also a person worth making friends with. It's just that his personality is really uncomfortable. Uzumaki Naruto said afterwards. Idiot, I have always liked you. Hinata Hyuga didn't say this from her heart, but just smiled and said to Uzumaki Naruto, I know Sasuke a little bit. He's a pretty good person, but as you said, that kind of cold look is unbelievable. I still admire Sakura's ice melting behavior. Oh. Hinata, do you like Sasuke too? Oh my god, why? Uzumaki Naruto said helplessly with a constipated look on his face. No. Naruto-kun, I don't like Sasuke. Don't get me wrong, I like. Hinata Hyuga was anxious when she heard it, afraid that Uzumaki Naruto would misunderstand, so she hurried to explain. But she almost turned from an explanation into a confession. But in the end, Hinata Hyuga didn't say it, but her face began to blush. Then who do you like? Hinata? Uzumaki Naruto felt relieved inexplicably, but still asked curiously. I'll go home first. Hinata Hyuga blushed and ran away quickly. Looking at the back of Hyuga Hinata, Uzumaki Naruto was inexplicably happy. Hinata seemed very interesting and beautiful. However, Uzumaki Naruto did not change his feelings at this time. After all, he had liked Sakura for so long. How could he change his feelings in an instant? Chapter 363. The Chunin exam is finally here. Yamana Kurino is a girl who can take it or leave it. After returning home and venting for a night, she let it go. Every girl has a hazy feeling. However, some people are happy. Some people wake up. This night is destined to be a sleepless night. Yamana Kurino can't sleep. Hiruno Sakura can't sleep. Hyuga Hinata can't sleep. Even Uchiha Sasuke can't sleep. For someone like him with negative emotional intelligence, this kind of thing is a huge problem. Uchiha Sasuke can't figure out why he has such a reaction. Uzumaki Naruto sleeps very soundly. Very sound. Baiing and Juyaing also have insomnia. Baiing can't sleep because Juyaing's handsome face and silly look always appear in her mind. As a smart girl, this is the first time she has such a problem in her relationship, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. Juyaing is even more exhausted. His mind is full of baying, but after so many years of madness, this is the first time he has dealt with someone for so long. These things are still a little difficult for him to understand. The next day, Yamana Kurino, Hyuga Hinata, Baying, Tachibana Yukich, Daruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke were all asked the same question. What's wrong with you? Didn't you sleep well last night? Another day's mission. Wait for Hatake Kakashi to disappear. Just when Hiruno Sakura wanted to find Uchiha Sasuke for dinner again, Uzumaki Naruto walked up to them. Uchiha Sasuke frowned, and so did Hiruno Sakura. Uchiha Sasuke was too bothered, and Hiruno Sakura was upset, because Uzumaki Naruto had delayed her, and Uchiha Sasuke's world of two. Uzumaki Naruto knew it, but he didn't care. He was filled with that sunny smile. I was thinking about it yesterday. Sasuke, you are right. In fact, you did nothing wrong, but I have always been confused by your unpopular personality, so I have such a big opinion of you. Don't worry, I will treat you as a brother in the future. After all, we have experienced life and death. Sakura, I know what you think in your heart, but there are some wooden people who don't know, if you don't tell them. As for who they are, I won't say it, for fear that you will be shy. I will treat you today. How about we go to Konoha Chuanshanxiang to eat skewers? Give me a favor, my good comrades. Uzumaki Naruto's eyes are sincere, his tone is sincere, and his attitude is full of kindness. This change made Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke stunned. They really couldn't figure out how Uzumaki Naruto changed so much overnight. If it was in the past, Uzumaki Naruto would never be so mature. But there is a saying that a broken heart is the best ripening agent for men. Women can grow without men, but men's growth is 90% inseparable from women. Okay. For the first time, Uchiha Sasuke said with a smile and kindness. Seeing Uzumaki Naruto's sincere eyes, Uchiha Sasuke did not put on his own arrogance. Yeah. Hiruno Sakura also said with a smile. Although she was a little surprised, Hiruno Sakura still believed that Uzumaki Naruto had really grown up. Haha. Well, look, a discount coupon for Konoha Chuanshanxiang. This is what my mother extorted from Uncle Bai Yu before. I haven't used it up for a long time, so I specially asked my mother for it today. Otherwise, I might not be able to spend it with my small treasury. Uzumaki Naruto has regained his former optimism, and it is an optimism without impurities. However, Uzumaki Naruto did not take Uchiha Sasuke and Hiruno Sakura to eat skewers first, but first came to the gathering place of the 8th team, where Hinata Hyuga was. Invite Hinata Hyuga to go together. Come on, Hinata. Let's eat together. Uzumaki Naruto shouted with a smile to Hinata Hyuga, who was alone. Because Inuzuka Kiba and Aburame Shino are two weird guys who walk more casually. Naruto-kun. Hinata Hyuga looked up at Naruto Uzumaki in a cute way, and her face instantly turned red. However, after yesterday's conversation, she would not faint when she saw Naruto Uzumaki. Come on. Come eat with me. I don't want to bear the inexplicable dog food alone. Naruto Uzumaki walked to Hinata Hyuga, said something, and then took her hand and walked towards Uchiha Sasuke and Hiruno Sakura. Ha! Exclamation mark. He took my hand. Exclamation mark. Hinata Hyuga's brain froze. However, Naruto-kun, what dog food? Do you have a dog? I can help you find Inuzuka Kiba to ask for some childish dog food. Hinata Hyuga did not refuse Naruto Uzumaki holding her hand. Although her face was red and her heartbeat was accelerated, Hinata Hyuga still plucked up the courage to accept it all and said softly, "No, it's just a metaphor for what Uncle Bai Yu told me before." Then Naruto Uzumaki explained to Hinata Hyuga the inexplicable dog food and the meaning of being single. Hinata Hyuga finally understood and then smiled. This sweet smile made Uzumaki Naruto stunned for a while. However, the two also walked in front of Uchiha Sasuke and Hiruno Sakura. Hinata. Long time no see. Hiruno Sakura said to Hinata Hyuga with a smile. Long time no see. Uchiha Sasuke said expressionlessly. But this is normal, Uchiha Sasuke's character should be like this. After a brief chat, everyone followed Uzumaki Naruto to Konoha Chuanshanxiang. Due to the number of discount coupons and the familiar face of Uzumaki Naruto, the staff of Konoha Chuanxiang did not let Uzumaki Naruto wait for long and arranged a compartment for them. Hinata Hyuga saw Uchiha Sasuke and Hiruno Sakura opposite and looked at the hand that Uzumaki Naruto had been holding. She felt sweet in her heart. I should be considered Uzumaki Naruto's female companion, right? But Hinata Hyuga did not express it. Exit Hatake Kakashi. This meal was the first time that Team 7 was so harmonious. The next day, Uzumaki Naruto had completely recovered his optimistic spirit, running quickly towards the sun. Good morning, Sakura, Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto said with a smile. Good morning. Good morning. Uchiha Sasuke did not hesitate to smile. He greeted Uzumaki Naruto in a friendly way. The same goes for Hiruno Sakura. Good morning everyone. Sorry, I got lost again today. Hatake Kakashi floated over from somewhere and said apologetically. Teacher Kakashi, you're overdoing it. Ha. That's great. That's great. The Chunin exam. I must make a splash. Uchiha Sasuke, Hiruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto heard Hatake Kakashi talk about the Chunin exam, and Uzumaki Naruto couldn't help but shout with fire in his eyes. However, this year's Chunin exam is different from previous years. Hatake Kakashi said lightly. Deg. Uchiha Sasuke, Hiruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto was stunned for a moment. Is there any difference, Kakashi sensei? Hiruno Sakura asked in confusion. Hatake Kakashi looked at the three of them and couldn't help but sigh. Chapter 364, The Eve of the Chunin exam. Hatake Kakashi glanced at the sky and said calmly, because of Mr. Bai Yu. In the second and third Ninja World Wars, Konoha won with minimal losses, but this also deepened the resentment of the three villages, except the Mist Village against Konoha. This time, it seems that the four villages are united in the Ninja World Chunin exam, but it is undoubtedly a smaller version of the Ninja World War, and the participants are the ninjas who are taking the exam. Maybe these Jonin and shadows led by the three villages will cause trouble. Hatake Kakashi explained and added in his heart. Isn't it the same before? Isn't it just an exam? Why does Mr. Kakashi seem very nervous? Uzumaki Naruto looked at Hatake Kakashi and asked puzzledly. The past is the past. If you know how cruel Mr. Bai Yu was on the battlefield, you will know why I'm worried. If my guess is right, I guess this Chunin exam will be very cruel. Maybe you will lose your life. Of course, my father was also too much back then, but I won't say it. Hatake Kakashi said calmly. Will die. This. Hiruno Sakura was shocked when she heard it, and her face was horrified. Humph. With me here, nothing will happen to you and Naruto. Uchiha Sasuke snorted coldly, took a step forward, and said with great confidence. Hey. You should be the one saying this. With me here, nothing will happen to you and Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto heard it, and immediately stood up and said arrogantly. No, don't underestimate this Chunin exam. Although I can proudly say that Sasuke and Naruto are excellent, but the danger of this Chunin exam, I can't guarantee that you will be safe. Hatake Kakashi smiled bitterly and poured a basin of cold water on Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto's heads. Hey. Teacher Kakashi, you underestimate me and Sasuke too much. You also underestimate Konoha's genin too much. Uzumaki Naruto said with an unhappy face. At this time, Hiruno Sakura pursed her lips and said, yes, Teacher Kakashi. Konoha's genin are not so easy to deal with. We are all geniuses. Hey, my father killed all the sons, daughters, and grandsons of the Sand Village Elder Chiyo. In the second and third Ninja World Wars, he slaughtered the combined forces of the three villages. This is actually nothing, my teacher, Bai Yu. He killed the one-tailed Jinchuriki, captured the third Kazekage alive, and defeated the Sand Ninja Coalition. In the third Ninja World War, he fought on all battlefields on his own, fighting against the Mist Village. The balance of victory tilted towards Konoha, and Konoha finally won. But because of this, the teacher gained a lot of hatred. I remember that in the past Chunin exams, many Jonins or Chunins were demoted to Genins, just to participate in the Chunin exams and slaughter geniuses from various villages. So, I believe that in this Chunin exam, under such great hatred, each village will definitely launch a massacre against Konoha. Hatake Kakashi quietly expressed his views. Although Hatake Kakashi didn't say much in detail, just hearing this made Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hiruno Sakura start a series of imaginations. The grandeur of the ninja world war and the feeling of war deeply shocked the three people. Is Uncle Bai Yu really that powerful? Such a beautiful uncle, gentle and kind every day, always with a smile on his face. Is he so cruel? Uzumaki Naruto said in disbelief. No. Uncle Bai Yu is really powerful. There were a few times when I only saw a little bit, but Uncle Bai Yu's strength is really strong. When my brother and father talked about Uncle Bai Yu, the respect in their eyes could not be faked. Moreover, Uncle Bai Yu's medical ninjutsu is also very strong. Uchiha Sasuke said with respect in his eyes. Teacher Bai Yu is a werewolf. Hatake Kakashi said firmly. Teacher Kakashi, why is Lord Bai Yu a werewolf? Hiruno Sakura asked curiously. Hiruno Sakura naturally didn't communicate much with Bai Yu, but she still knew a lot about Bai Yu's deeds. More ruthless than a ruthless person. Hatake Kakashi looked at Hiruno Sakura and said, but I know that Uncle Bai Yu's sealing technique is very strong. I still have the seal that Uncle Bai Yu made for me on my body. However, as for his combat power, I still don't believe it. Uzumaki Naruto frowned and said, Naruto, you, Sasuke and Baiheyo, weren't you hospitalized some time ago because of the ninjas from the Iwagakure village? Do you know where Teacher Bai Yu went? Hatake Kakashi asked. I don't know. Uzumaki Naruto shook his head and said. He went to the three villages for a stroll. The first one he went to was the Iwagakure village. That Tsuchikage building was destroyed, and countless Iwagakure ninjas were killed and injured. The third generation Tsuchikage was severely injured and had to be hospitalized for nearly a year before he could go to work. There was only one office chair left in that Tsuchikage building. The Kazekage building was destroyed, the Reikage building was destroyed, and countless cloud ninjas were killed and injured. Of course, the teacher heard that you were attacked, so he returned to the Iwagakure village and severely injured the third generation Tsuchikage. Hatake Kakashi said lightly. That sense of pride arises spontaneously. Oh my god. Sakura Hiruno exclaimed in shock. Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke also looked shocked. That was a cage level powerhouse. He was beaten by Bai Yu. Moreover, the reason why I'm called Konoha Reiga is because of my teacher's teaching. It was my teacher who taught me how to condense the bloodline limit storm escape. The 3 storm escapes my teacher taught me are extremely powerful. The ultimate secret, heavenly punishment, can only be truly demonstrated when I reach the level of Cage. Hatake Kakashi said again. I'm going to find Uncle Bai Yu. Uzumaki Naruto said with a serious look and turned around to leave. Where are you going? Hiruno Sakura grabbed Uzumaki Naruto and said. I'm going to let Uncle Bai Yu practice me. Didn't Teacher Kakashi say that it's easy to die in the Chunin exam? Let Uncle Bai Yu practice. Maybe I can kill a few people. Uzumaki Naruto said without hesitation. That's right. You reacted pretty quickly this time. Hiruno Sakura's eyes lit up and said with a smile. Even Uchiha Sasuke's eyes lit up. Hey, have you abandoned me like this? Said Hatake Kakashi lightly. Then, a sharp sound of Chidori screaming sounded from his left hand, and a sharp sound of wind whirled from his right hand. Uzumaki Naruto took a look. He hugged Hatake Kakashi's thigh without hesitation. Teacher Kakashi, please teach me. That meatball, my dad taught me for a long time, but I still haven't learned it. Uzumaki Naruto said with a pitiful face. Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke saw Uzumaki Naruto hugging Hatake Kakashi's thigh, and they were speechless. This guy's really. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365, The Eve of the Chunin Exam Part 2. I don't know what Hatake Kakashi is explaining about the Chunin exam. Kyunari, Asuma Sarutobi, my guy, and Uchiha Shizu are all explaining the dangers of the Chunin exam to the future of Konoha. So, this Chunin exam is very dangerous. Kuronoi said seriously to Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shinobu Rame, and what she said was similar to what Hatake Kakashi said. Humph. No matter who it is, I will bite him to death with the Kamaru. Kiba Inuzuka said arrogantly. Was Lord Shiraha really that powerful, teacher? It sounds so dreamy. Hinata Hyuga asked curiously in a soft voice. Lord Shiraha once helped my father master a super nano-sized bug. I believe what teacher Kuronoi said. Shinobu Rame, who has always been silent and wrapped herself tightly, suddenly spoke. Kiba Inuzuka and Hinata Hyuga looked at Shinobu Rame curiously. Even Kuronoi looked at Shinobu Rame surprisingly. That's right. You can't understand how powerful Mr. Bai Yu is. Without Mr. Bai Yu, my illusion career would not have reached such a level. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no Jinjutsu Red in this ninja world. Yuhi Kuronoi said firmly. These guiding jonin were surprisingly consistent. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no Konoha Rega in the ninja world. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no Jinjutsu Red in the ninja world. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no Aja Beast in the ninja world. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no Gale Ape in the ninja world. Without Mr. Bai Yu, there would be no instant body Shizu in the ninja world. Except for the clinging Uzumaki Naruto. And the K-fan Zaioli, Uchiha Sasuke, Daruno Sakura, Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, Hyuga Niji, Tenten, Akimichi Choji, Yamana Karino all clamored to be trained by Bai Yu. As for Naruto, I'm sorry, Choji, Ino. I've already been a disciple of Mr. Bai Yu, learning shadow fighting methods. Naruto said with a faint smile on his face, closing his eyes, and looking very arrogant. Hard turn technique. Partial multiplication technique. Hey, young people don't have martial ethics. I advise you to die. Naruto stared at a pair of panda eyes, and said fiercely to Akimichi Choji and Yamana Karino. That's the thing. So, Konoha's genius teacher, Elder Bai Yu and the captain of the dragon group. Thank you for your hard work. Namikaze Minato said with a smile to Bai Yu who looked helpless. Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him also smiled like an old chrysanthemum. These guys must have colluded. They know the danger of Chunin and are afraid that the students they lead will be in danger. That's why they did this. Definitely. Bai Yu said angrily. Can't resist the wishes of these genin. Kakashi Hatake, along with several jonin instructing them, came to the Hokage's office and expressed their collective wish to let Hakuba come out of retirement to instruct these little guys. In the end, Hakuba couldn't stand Sarutobi Hiruzen's brilliant smile and Namikaze Minato's little submissive smile, and reluctantly agreed. Kakashi, you're amazing. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have figured out how to ensure the safety of these little guys in this Chunin exam. Konoha BBQ Restaurant. Akimichi's BBQ Restaurant. Kakashi Hatake, Kuronoi Yuhi, Asuma Sarutobi, Might Guy, and Uchiha Shizu are drinking here happily. Might Guy picked up his glass and said to Kakashi Hatake with a heroic smile. Although this plan succeeded, it was still very risky. If we hadn't studied the rhetoric in advance, these arrogant little guys wouldn't have been able to admire teacher Bai Yu. If we hadn't shown some tricks, these little guys might have looked down on us. The most important thing is teacher Bai Yu. Fortunately, teacher Bai Yu hasn't changed. His personality is still so gentle and generous. It's because the teacher hasn't taken action in recent years. These little guys don't know how powerful the teacher is. They have to prepare rhetoric in advance. Yuhi Kuronoi raised her glass and said angrily. Sarutobi Asuma also raised his glass. Yeah. Anyway, it succeeded. With teacher Bai Yu taking action, the safety of these little guys can be assured. The damn 4 village joint Chunin exam is really worrying. Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. Cheers. Uchiha Shizu didn't say anything, but smiled and said. After everyone finished drinking, Uchiha Shizu spoke. This opening immediately made everyone feel half disappointed. Have you ever thought about this? With Mr. Bai Yu's intelligence, he will definitely guess that this is our plan. Will we have a good ending? Uchiha Shizu said dimly. Everyone's mouth twitched, and the barbecue was no longer fragrant. The wine smelled too strong. They were all drunk. Dizzy. Hehe. At this moment, Sarutobi Asuma laughed sinisterly. What are you laughing at? So cowardly. Yuhi Kuronoi pinched Sarutobi Asuma and said unhappily. That what? I don't know about the plan. I just know that Kakashi said that it is necessary to know the power of the predecessors so that the children can have a role model. That's why I told the story of Mr. Bai Yu. Asuma Sarutobi said with a smile. My guy, Yuhi Kurenai, and Uchiha Shizu's eyes lit up. Yes, yes, yes. To a predecessor, like Mr. Bai Yu who is always passionate. I must use him as an example to inspire these students. My guy's IQ is amazing online. He said passionately. That's right. Kakashi, you are right. We should teach students with classics. That's how we can guide Jonin. Uchiha Shizu also agreed. Well, I'll treat you to this meal for Kakashi's good ideas on teaching. The rich lady Yuhi Kurenai raised her fist and said, you guys, I'll give you a word. Take Kakashi said lightly, as if his breath was strangled. What words? Everyone asked hurriedly. The human face is gone. Take Kakashi said lightly. Asshole. Who are you calling shameless? Konoha whirlwind. Might guy propped himself up with his hands and kicked out suddenly in a very small space. Chakra blade Shinichimonji. Sarutobi Asuma quietly pulled out a tiger finger knife from his waist. Secret method, thousand vine binding. Yuhi Kurenai made seals with both hands. Susanoo. Before Uchiha Shizu finished speaking. Assholes. Do you want to destroy my shop? The owner of the barbecue shop raised his neck and shouted angrily. Sorry. Although the 5 people just fought. But this is just a habit developed in the dragon group, fighting after a disagreement. Many years of friendship made the 5 people still happily eat barbecue and drink. Although Sarutobi Asuma found an extreme excuse, the 5 people knew that Bai Yu would not let them go. Chapter 366, The Eve of the Chunin Exams Part 3. While Kakashi, Uchiha Shizu, my guy, Kurenai Yuhi, and Asuma Sarutobi were happily eating, Bai Yu was at home, holding Balin and thinking. Bai Yu knew that this Chunin exam would definitely not be easy. Not only the children participating in the exam should be considered, but also the safety of Konoha. This time in the Chunin exam, the Kazekage, the Reikage, and the Tsuchikage, although on the surface, only brought 2 guards. The rest only brought the genin ninjas participating in the exam. But who can guarantee that there are no jonin among these genin? Moreover, with such a large-scale action, who can guarantee that there are no ambushes? And these little guys, it's not long before the Chunin exam. What can be given to them in more than a month? This gave Bai Yu a headache. At night, Bai Yu surprisingly did not go back to the room to sleep, but handed Balin to Meditarumi, and he meditated in the living room all night. At 3 o'clock in the morning of the next day, before dawn, Bai Yu put on the long-lost light armor. After so long, Bai Yu's light armor has been changed. The previous one was already covered with knife marks, sword marks, and traces of ninjutsu attacks. Not only Bai Yu, but all the ninjas of the dragon group have changed into new light armor. Bai Yu's light armor has a dragon pattern on the chest. There are also dragon patterns on the shoulders. The whole body is black, but the pattern is red gold. For details, please refer to Tang Shizen-kei. It's just that there is no helmet. With long silver hair, if you don't look at the face, it is undoubtedly a generation of strong. But when you see Bai Yu's face, you will definitely sigh that this girl is so beautiful. Tsunade, Uchiha Mikoto, and Terumi Mei are also all black, but the patterns on their bodies are phoenix patterns. The light armor of other ninjas in the dragon group is silver. Males have dragon patterns, and females have phoenix patterns. Although the style is the same, the color is different. Shadow clone technique. Bai Yu differentiated into 5 clones. Go find Kakashi and beat him up. Then ask him to sort out the information about Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hiruno Sakura. At dawn, ask him to bring the 3 children to me. Go find Might Guy and beat him up as well. Prepare the information, and at dawn, bring the 3 children to me. Go find Uchiha Shizu and beat him up. The same for the others. Go find Sarutobi Asuma. Go find Yuhi Kurenai. You don't have to beat her up. Just prepare the information and bring the children to me. When talking about Yuhi Kurenai, Bai Yu did not ask the clones to beat her up. After all, she was a girl, and Bai Yu believed that Yuhi Kurenai would never come up with this plan. The only one who could come up with this plan was that brat Kakashi. Sarutobi Asuma was naturally impossible, although this kid could have this idea, but he didn't have the courage. Uchiha Shisu was even more impossible. He had always been a good boy. My guy, his brain was full of muscles. Go. Bai Yu said to the clones. The clones smiled, rubbed their fists and necks, and gradually disappeared. I should also find a place to train these kids hard. Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu, my guy, Sarutobi Asuma, and Yuhi Kurenai should also go back to the training. Bai Yu had a wicked smile on his face, and his figure gradually disappeared in the room. Bai Yu found an open space a little far away from Konoha village. It was sparsely populated. Except for the lush woods and beasts, there were no signs of human life. After Bai Yu memorized this location, he returned home. It was still early in the world. Baiki, Baiyao, Baihao, Baiing, Tsunade, Uchiha Makoto, and Terumi Mei had not gotten up yet. Bai Yu wore black light armor with a dragon sword on his waist. Standing in the yard, waiting quietly. When the sun appeared, 5 very strong auras approached the yard, and at the same time there were 13 very weak auras. Bai Yu smiled slightly. Shisu, go greet Baiing and Baihao. You have 3 minutes. If they don't show up in the yard on time, you'll be done for. Bai Yu's lips moved, but no sound came out, because Bai Yu used the sound transmission technique. The sound was transmitted into Uchiha Shisu's ears. Uchiha Shisu's eyes, which had been swollen into a slit, suddenly widened a little. He secretly exclaimed in his heart, and his figure suddenly disappeared. The next second, he appeared in Baihao's room, and then Baiing's room appeared. Uchiha Shisu was more off with Baihao. He slapped Baihao, who was sleeping soundly with drooling. The severe pain in the back of his head woke Baihao up. When he saw Uchiha Shisu, Baihao, who was about to curse, laughed. Ha 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 ha. Brother Shisu, where did you go last night? Good man, if your mouth was not intact, I almost couldn't recognize you. Baihao said with a smile. Stop talking nonsense. Gather in the yard in 1 minute. Uchiha Shisu's mouth twitched, and he said something unhappily, then disappeared. Baihao smiled, and without hesitation, he quickly tidied himself up, and then jumped out of the window, because it would save time to jump out of the window. Uchiha Shisu treated Baiing much more gently, just woke her up, said something, and disappeared. After a while, Baiing also jumped out of the window. Juyaing, who was originally confused by Uchiha Shisu's sudden disappearance, found that Uchiha Shisu was back again. Before he could finish being confused, it was over. Juyaing didn't say anything either. Maybe Uchiha Shisu went to urinate, but Juyaing was very curious why Uchiha Shisu's face was so bloated. But he didn't ask. Juyaing had a hunch that once he asked, he would probably be the same. Uchiha Shisu moved quickly, and when Baiing and Baihao appeared in the yard, everyone was just there. Kakashi Hatake brought Uchiha Sasuke, as well as the sleepy Uzumaki Naruto and Hiruno Sakura. Because of the mask, and because Kakashi Hatake tried his best to protect his face, his appearance didn't change much. It was just that the pain in his body made it painful for Kakashi Hatake to breathe, and coupled with the running all the way, Kakashi Hatake's breathing was a little rapid. But my guy, Uchiha Shisu, and Sarutobi Asuma were different. Their dark blue eyes, which were about to turn into slits, and their faces were bloated. Even the devil muscular man Might Guy was not immune. No, it should be said that the attack Might Guy suffered was more fierce than that of Uchiha Shisu and Sarutobi Asuma. Behind Might Guy, Lee was also constantly wondering what exactly had happened to Mr. Guy to be defeated to this extent. Hey Kakashi, you're breathing so fast. This is not good. Don't worry, teacher, I will give you a refresher. Bai Yu saw that everyone was there and slowly walked towards Hatake Kakashi. The light armor on his body made a crisp sound, but it did not affect his movements. Hatake Kakashi wanted to run, but Bai Yu had already locked onto Hatake Kakashi. Bai Yu patted Hatake Kakashi's shoulder and said with a smile. In fact, Bai Yu did it on purpose, because he patted twice lightly, but with hidden power. Hatake Kakashi instantly felt the pain all over his body. Hatake Kakashi couldn't help but cry out in pain. Oh, I agree. Very good. Very good. Bai Yu said with a smile. Yes, teacher, I won't miss any opportunity to grow. Teacher, I'm in pain. Although Hatake Kakashi was roaring in his heart, he successfully turned into a smart boy on the surface. Chapter 367, The Eve of the Chunin exams. Bai Yu walked to my guy, who was not far from Hatake Kakashi. "K. Who beat you? Tell me, teacher will help you vent your anger," Bai Yu said with a smile, squinting his eyes and looking at my guy. "Teacher, didn't you beat him?" My guy blushed and said puzzled. "Did I beat him? Why don't I remember it?" Bai Yu narrowed his eyes and said softly, "It's over, my guy is finished." Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu, Sarutobi Asuma, Yuhi Kurenai, all looked at Might Guy in their hearts and said secretly, "It's really you. Your clone." Might Guy said hurriedly, "Bang, I beat you. Bang, it was my clone who beat you just now. Bang, remember it." Bai Yu's body moved suddenly, and a set of straight hooks not only made Might Guy's face plump, but also successfully explained that he didn't beat Might Guy just now. "I'll remember, teacher," his Might Guy said weakly, but when he spoke, he moved the injured part and gasped in pain. "Shisu, Asuma, what happened to your face?" Bai Yu asked calmly. "Teacher, I accidentally bumped into it this morning," Asuma Sarutobi said loudly without blushing or beating his heart. "Ouch. The sound is so loud, it seems that nothing happened. How about you, Shisu?" Bai Yu asked again. "Well, teacher, I accidentally fell from the Hokage rock yesterday and landed on my face." Uchiha Shisu blushed and said softly, "Okay, you five are good, but now you are scheming me." Bai Yu glanced at the 15 children who were in a state of shock, then looked at the 5 guilty people and said calmly, "Teacher, look at you. We are also afraid that these children will be in danger during the Chunin exam. Besides, you are so nice. You have even put on the light armor. Doesn't that mean you agree? We won't do this next time. Just treat it as a prank. It's been a long time since I played a prank on you. Don't you miss it?" At this time, Yuhi Kurenai walked to Bai Yu and said softly. Their fellow apprentices all knew Bai Yu's character, a typical soft-hearted person who would not tolerate hardship. "Humph. If you talk nicely, how can I not agree? Forget it. But the 5 of you have to go back to the training too. After all, you also have tasks during the Chunin exam." Bai Yu snorted, and his tone softened a little. "Yes, teacher. We know." Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu, my guy, Sarutobi Asuma, and Yuhi Kurenai responded loudly. The 15 children were stunned. Bai Ing and Bai Heo were better, knowing more or less, but the other children didn't know much. "Give me the information. Let me take a look," Bai Yu said to the 5 people. The 5 people quickly handed the information they had sorted out to Bai Yu. Uchiha Sasuke, 3 Nagata Sharingan, Hyuga Niji, Hyuga Hinata, Byakugan, Rock Lee, Tenten, Aburame Shino, Uzumaki Naruto. Yeah. Bai Yu got the information and started reading it. Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu, my guy, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Yuhi Kurenai saw Bai Yu reading the information seriously and did not interrupt or make any movements. They just stood there seriously and waited quietly. However, the 15 children were different. They began to gather together and discuss in a low voice. Fortunately, their voices remained very low, unlike those children who became more and more forgetful the more they talked. "Okay, I have some understanding of you. But the information is always information, and it can only be used as a reference. My name is Bai Yu, and I'm the father of Bai Ing and Bai Heo. Maybe you know me, and you don't know me. From now on, until the end of the Chunin exam, I will be responsible for training you. Do you understand clearly?" Bai Yu said seriously. "Listen carefully," the 15 children said in unison. However, Bai Yu had already set up a soundproofing array around them, otherwise, it would affect Balin, Tsunade, Uchiha Makoto, and Terumi Mena's rest. "Very good. I suddenly remembered something. Kakashi, you lead the team. Shisu, K, Han, Asuma, you all go to the dragon group and get 15 sets of adjustable weight-bearing clothes. Of course, the 5 of you have to wear the adjustable weight-bearing clothes that you wear during the extreme week." Bai Yu narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly. Yes. When the 5 heard it, they immediately sweated. Extreme Week is a training project that is often carried out in the first month of retraining. Normal adjustable weight-bearing clothes are used for new training, and the maximum is only 300 kilograms. But the adjustable weight bearing clothes for extreme week are different, and the maximum can reach 1000 kilograms! Exclamation mark. But with the help of chakra, it's okay, and it can still be withstood. But just now, Bai Yu waved his hand and sealed the chakra of the 5 people! Exclamation mark. Yes, sealed. By the way, after you 5 have taken the items, go directly to this place. Just run. Bai Yu said with a smile, took out a map, and showed it to the 5 people. Yes, teacher. The 5 people looked helpless. The adjustable weight bearing clothes used in the extreme week are 50 kilograms without adjustment. The normal one is 10 kilograms. On average, 5 people have to weigh 80 kilograms each. But how dare we disobey Bai Yu's orders? Surprisingly, no figure disappeared, but running action. Dad, are we training at home? Bai Yu asked at this time. No. We are going to a place. By the way, there are some things I want to say in advance. From this moment on, I will turn into a devil and train you hard. But today I can let you feel relaxed. From tomorrow on, relaxation is a luxury for you. Bai Yu said with a smile. No way. Uncle Bai Yu, you are so gentle. Although Uzumaki Naruto had asked Bai Yu to help him seal before, he always felt that Bai Yu should be a very gentle person, and couldn't help but say. Hearing Uzumaki Naruto's words, Bai Yu and Bai Ying looked at Uzumaki Naruto in a daze. How did this guy know that Bai Yu was very gentle during training? Exclamation mark. Haha. Let's go. Bai Yu smiled and said nothing, nor did he explain anything, because everything would be known tomorrow. Bai Yu waved his hand, and 15 purple gold longswords, completely condensed by mana, appeared in front of 15 people. Stand up, or sit on them. Bai Yu said softly. Shianshin, Hyuga Hinata, and Hiruno Sakura naturally sat on them, and Bai Ying and Bai Yu also sat on them. The rest of the people stood on them. Bai Yu read the information, and knew that these little guys could step on water and climb trees, but he was still unsure whether they could calmly absorb the long swords in the air. Directly use mana to absorb the 15 little guys on the long swords. The next second, they took off. X13 shouts, including Ju Yaing, the feeling of suddenly flying up, the feeling of weightlessness. They couldn't help but panic. But with time, coupled with Bai Yu's super slow flying, they slowly got used to it. These teenagers began to talk excitedly again. However, Aburame Shino, Uchiha Sasuke, and Tachibana Naruki remained calm, but the excitement in their eyes could not be concealed. Chapter 368, Chunin Exam Pre-Training 1. Bai Yu was flying in the air with 15 children. They left the village very quickly. After a while, 5 figures were seen running in the woods. Everyone was wearing an adjustable weight-bearing suit, and they were also carrying 3 slightly smaller weight-bearing suits. Run faster. Kakashi, Kei, Shisu, Asuma, Kunoha. If any of you are slower, you will suffer the consequences. Bai Yu said maliciously in the air. Seeing this, Hatake Kakashi, Might Guy, Shisu, Asuma Sarutobi, and Kunoha smiled bitterly and ran faster. Among them, Might Guy ran the fastest. Okay, Kei, you run fast. Teacher, I'm in a good mood today, so I'll give you some extra ingredients. Bai Yu said happily, and then waved his hand, and a trace of mana was injected into the weight-bearing suit worn by Might Guy. Might Guy felt his body sink instantly, and then his speed dropped a little. Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you slowing down? If I'm in a bad mood, it's not adding some ingredients, it's adding seasoning. Bai Yu's face changed like the dark clouds in the sky. He shouted angrily. Might Guy heard it, and gritted his teeth to speed up a little. Hey, that's right. Asuma, don't think that I won't add some ingredients, just because you run the slowest. I'm very angry about your current speed. You'd better speed up immediately. Bai Yu said gloomily. Sarutobi Asuma roared, and caught up with Might Guy. Hey, it's a bit interesting. I'm in a good mood now. I'll add some ingredients for you. Bai Yu said with satisfaction, and then injected a trace of mana into Sarutobi Asuma's weight-bearing clothes, but not as much as Might Guy. After all, he is not like Might Guy, who is a pure physical training. Who else wants to add some ingredients? Bai Yu said meanly. Me. I want to add some ingredients. Hatake Kakashi shouted first. Don't I know you, kid? Do you think I will add less if you take the initiative? But I will reward you for your initiative. I will reward you for adding more. Bai Yu said like a devil. The weight that Bai Yu added to Hatake Kakashi was the same as that of my guy. Although Hatake Kakashi could use ninjutsu, the route that Hatake Kakashi took was to use both. Without a good physique, how could he use different swordsmanship? For a while, Hatake Kakashi's breathing began to quicken. Teacher Kakashi, come on. As the teacher of my Uzumaki Naruto, the future Hokage, I believe in you. You can do it. Uzumaki Naruto firmly encouraged Hatake Kakashi. But Uzumaki Naruto didn't know that at this time, Hatake Kakashi was so angry that he wanted to rush up and beat Uzumaki Naruto to death because Bai Yu. Kakashi, look, your students are cheering for you again. Shouldn't you work hard? Speed up. Bai Yu seized this opportunity very cleverly. I knew that Hatake Kakashi was complaining in his heart, but he still increased his speed in action and soon surpassed Hatake Kakashi. Zio saw that his teacher was surpassed. How could this be possible? Where is the youth? Where is the passion? Teacher K. Don't forget our youth promise. Use passion to overcome everything. Teacher K. Zio with thick eyebrows and big eyes, with a firm face, shouted to Might Guy with great seriousness. Zio, I will not forget. No difficulties can stop the passion of youth. Sure enough, when Might Guy heard this word that ran through his life, his eyes suddenly spit fire. Start speeding up. In an instant, he surpassed Kakashi by 3 body lengths. Well done, K. Shisu, Kurenai, Asuma, Kakashi. K is so outstanding. How can you hold him back? Hurry up and catch up with K for me. Want to add more ingredients? Bai Yu shouted passionately. Children are always the most innocent. At this moment, in addition to the helpless Naruto, the silent Aburame Shino, the always cold Uchiha Sasuke, the taciturn Hyuga Neji, and the cute and quiet Tachibana Yukage, they all think that this is a duel between 5 teachers, and they all want their teachers to win this race. They are constantly cheering. In addition to the passionate, roaring, spitting fire from their eyes, and spraying air from their bodies, Might Guy, Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu, Sarutobi Asuma, and Yuhi Kurenai all look like they would rather die than live. They can only speed up. And Bai Yu keeps fanning the flames, adding fuel to the fire, and sending charcoal in the snow. Ahem. He is looking for opportunities to add fuel. Of course, Bai Yu first shouted to Uchiha Shisu twice, and then she immediately understood something. Seeing the familiar smile on Bai Yu's face, Bai Yu instantly understood. But Bai Yu shouted very passionately. Naruto looked at Asuma Sarutobi, then looked at Bai Yu. Teacher Bai Yu is definitely a devil. It seems that this pre-exam training will not be easy. It's really troublesome. Naruto sighed and thought to himself. With the encouragement of the students, the 5 people quickly arrived at their destination. Except for Kurenai Yuhi, who was covered in fragrant sweat, the other 4 were covered in stinky sweat. Okay. Today is the first day, but there is also a task. Shisu, your 9th team, and Kurenai, your 8th team, are responsible for building wooden houses. Kakashi, your 7th team is responsible for hunting food and searching for edible fruits and vegetables. Asuma, your team is responsible for setting traps within a radius of 10 kilometers. K, you and Tenten assist Asuma. Neji, you and Rock Lee are responsible for collecting firewood. I'm responsible for sleeping. Go. Bai Yu first assigned the tasks very seriously, but when he said the last sentence, he was despised by these naughty children. Haha, I'll remember all of this for you. Remember, today is your most relaxing day. Starting tomorrow, I'll let you know what purgatory is. Although Bai Yu's face was filled with an extremely sunny and friendly smile, the hidden coldness made everyone feel cold in their hearts. After Bai Yu finished speaking, he flew to a branch in a chic manner and began to sleep recklessly. I can't stand it. Uncle Bai Yu is really too annoying. When Kakashi's class came back from hunting the first beast, Uzumaki Naruto, who was covered in animal blood, looked at Bai Yu sleeping comfortably on the tree and said with dissatisfaction, "No, I'm going to make trouble." Uzumaki Naruto rolled his eyes and said wickedly, "Hey, Naruto, I advise you not to make trouble." Really? Hatake Kakashi whispered to Uzumaki Naruto. At this time, Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke also came over. I'm determined to make trouble. Who made Uncle Bai Yu so irritating? We were working, and he was sleeping in broad daylight. Uzumaki Naruto said unconvinced. Hatake Kakashi's eyes rolled. Well, since you want to make trouble, then do it. But it's none of my business. Hatake Kakashi said with a smile. However, as a sensitive girl, Hiruno Sakura deeply felt that there was a secret behind Hatake Kakashi's smile. Humph. You guys just watch. Uzumaki Naruto said proudly. Then he looked at Hatake Kakashi with contempt. He felt that teacher Kakashi was too timid. Chapter 369. Chunin Exam Pre-Training 2. Little did they know that Hatake Kakashi, who Uzumaki Naruto thought was timid, was once chased by Bai Yu for 3 hills. Because of his troubles, he was beaten up and only then did he give up. But Uzumaki Naruto didn't know this. Ahem. Sakura, Sasuke, let's continue. Let Naruto show his skills here. Hatake Kakashi coughed twice and said to Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke. Hiruno Sakura looked at Hatake Kakashi suspiciously, and Uchiha Sasuke also looked at Hatake Kakashi in confusion. Hatake Kakashi blinked his dead fish eyes at the two of them twice. Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke immediately understood that there was something wrong. Then they didn't say anything but followed Hatake Kakashi away. Teacher Kakashi, are you hiding something? The 3 of them walked out of Uzumaki Naruto's sight, and Hiruno Sakura stopped and asked. Uchiha Sasuke also looked at Hatake Kakashi without saying anything. Follow me. I'll tell you slowly. Hatake Kakashi's eyes were full of passion for watching a show, and he waved to Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, and said with a smile. Hiruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke looked at each other, and followed Hatake Kakashi to a tree. The field of vision was very wide, just enough to see what Uzumaki Naruto was doing, and the location of Bai Yu. Let me tell you, when the 8 of us, Uchiha Shizu, Uchiha Obito, Tachibana Yukio, Might Guy, Sarutobi Asuma, Nohara and Yuhi Kunoe, participated in the Dragon Team selection, we did not play by the rules, and had flexible minds, which enabled us to achieve outstanding results, and enter the Dragon Team. During the Dragon Team's new training, the 8 of us were searching and doing various things every day, but we later discovered that our conspiracies were all pranks in the eyes of the old ninjas of the Dragon Team. Because we only knew how to set up some simple traps, these old guys really tried to kill us. All kinds of deadly poison mists, all kinds of complicated detonating talisman traps and chain hidden weapon traps. What's more terrifying is that during the new training, every day was not peaceful because we would be messed up if we were not careful. I remember one time when the 8 of us were eating, we were almost killed by the poison in the food. It is the most comfortable thing to die during the Dragon Group's new training. But with Teacher Bai Yu around, it is difficult to die. Then we started to think about Teacher Bai Yu. Because at that time, we found that Teacher Bai Yu had never done anything, and we thought he was easy to tease. So, our nightmare began. Every day, without knowing it, I was almost killed by Teacher Bai Yu. Once, Teacher Bai Yu chased me for 3 hills, and I was beaten all over my head. My soul was almost dissipated before I stopped. Later we found out that the conspiracies of those veteran ninjas were taught by Teacher Bai Yu. And those veteran ninjas said that their conspiracies were just like playing house in front of Teacher Bai Yu. Hatake Kakashi said bitterly while observing. But that memory made Hatake Kakashi feel a sense of belonging. Although it was bitter, everyone was of one mind. Although it was dangerous, everyone was very loyal. Whoever had difficulties, 1 call and 100 responses. Hiss. Hiruno Sakura took a breath of cold air with a look of horror. Especially Uchiha Sasuke, who was in disbelief. Then the 3 of them looked at Uzumaki Naruto at the same time, strangely, with pity on their faces. Uzumaki Naruto was completely unaware, and was setting his own trap with a smug look on his face. Hatake Kakashi looked at the trap set by Uzumaki Naruto with pity on his face. Kid, you are really cutting through thorns and brambles on the road to death, and moving forward bravely all the way. Hatake Kakashi thought of Uzumaki Naruto's fate in the future, and felt a little bit reluctant. Teacher Kakashi, will Naruto's fate be miserable later? Hiruno Sakura heard Hatake Kakishi's words of regret and couldn't help asking weakly, "Do you know why those old guys in the dragon group said that they are all children in front of teacher Bai Yu?" Hatake Kakishi's dead fish eyes couldn't help but show fear. Why? Hiruno Sakura couldn't help swallowing her saliva. Because when Mr. Bai Yu takes action, he makes people experience the awareness of life and death. If Mr. Bai Yu can set a trap and make people suffer, it means that Mr. Bai Yu is in a good mood. However, when Mr. Bai Yu is in a bad mood, he will kill and then revive. The most important thing is that Mr. Bai Yu is annoyed by others disturbing his sleep. I remember that senior Genji from the old dragon group once disturbed Mr. Bai Yu's sleep. Hiss. It's terrifying to think about it. After his head was separated, it was then buckled by Mr. Bai Yu. After he was cured, a detonating talisman made him die again. After he was cured, he was hung on the tree for 3 days. 3 whole days. It took senior Genji a whole week to get out of the shadow of fear. Hatake Kakishi's tone was full of horror. Not only Hiruno Sakura, but even Uchiha Sasuke felt a chill on his back. After seeing Uzumaki Naruto's operation, Uchiha Shizu and Juhi Kunoe sighed and then told their students to prepare the wood first and build the wooden house later, because it might be destroyed after a while. Haha. Done. Humph. Uncle Bai Yu, feel the pain. Uzumaki Naruto carefully worked on Bai Yu's head for a while, then quietly came to the open space under the tree and smiled wickedly. Uncle Bai Yu. Sorry. Uzumaki Naruto said in his heart, with a smug smile on his face. He took out a shuriken and threw it at Bai Yu's arm. Swoosh. With a sound of breaking through the air, Bai Yu opened his eyes immediately. Terrifying murderous intent scattered. His eyes were swollen, and there was some red bloodshot, and his face was full of anger. Exclamation mark. Who dare to disturb my sweet dream? Bai Yu roared angrily. Exclamation mark. It's over. Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shizu, Yuhi Kunoe, he said in his heart. Before the shuriken hit Bai Yu found Uzumaki Naruto. Humph. Bai Yu snorted coldly. The figure disappeared instantly. The next second, Uzumaki Naruto appeared on the tree. A confused face. Pucci. Ah. Uzumaki Naruto was stabbed. He screamed in pain and sat up while holding his arm. A ball of flour was smeared on his face. Then several shurikens without sharp tips shot out from the ground and shot at Uzumaki Naruto. Forehead, shoulders, and lower back. They were shot at the same time, but because they had no sharp tips, there was no damage. However, the last one hit Uzumaki Naruto's vitals. Uzumaki Naruto's face suddenly turned red, and he covered his legs. He fell to the ground. When he thought everything was over, Bai Yu glared at Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto, face the wind. Bai Yu roared. Swish, swish, swish. Countless shurikens pierced into Uzumaki Naruto's body, stabbed in a very regular manner. After being stabbed, Uzumaki Naruto's body would light up green. Ah. Uzumaki Naruto screamed. Heal. Bai Yu said cruelly. Ah. Heal. Boom. Bai Yu threw a detonating tag at Uzumaki Naruto. Resurrection. Bai Yu resurrected Uzumaki Naruto. Boom. Resurrection. Boom. Resurrection. Hatake Kakashi, Hiruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke looked at Uzumaki Naruto hanging on the tree, with a blank look on his face, as if he was stupid. It was as if there was a piece of ice on his back, and the strong chill made them tremble all over. At this moment, Bai Yu looked in the direction of the three of them. Chapter 370, Training Camp Before the Chunin Exam Part 3. What is miserable? Countless shurikens pierced into the body. Although there were occasional piercing wounds, each of them penetrated 5 centimeters into the flesh, not more or less. And you can get free treatment without leaving scars. What is not miserable enough? Well, the detonating talisman from the magic modification of Bai Yu Philoshu. Let's take a look. One explosion will create a big pit, and one explosion will ensure that 4/5 of the body will disappear. Of course, you can also experience entering the pool and being pulled back abruptly, and then experience the pain of your body being broken for a while, and then resurrecting. Is it not miserable enough? After experiencing torture, repeated life and death experiences, and then after your mental breakdown, you were hung on a tree in the wind and rain for 3 days and 3 nights. Is this enough? What is not enough? Well, the person who tortured you slept under your nose, and slept comfortably and sweetly, and you can only hang on the tree. Desperate, right? Exclamation mark. You deserve it. You are asking for death. To Uzumaki Naruto, Mustard apologized, because Mustard did not dare to disturb Bai Yu's sleep. Just as Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hiruno Sakura were doubting their lives, Bai Yu's originally sleeping eyes suddenly opened, and his eyes were focused on the 3 people. The opportunity was locked. Cold sweat was pouring down like rain, and the 3 dared not move. They only had a terrified expression on their faces, and could not control the twitching of the corners of their mouths. Bai Yu's lips moved twice, and Hatake Kakashi's dead fish eyes widened. Through the mask, you can see Hatake Kakashi's face, which turned pale instantly. Kakashi, how does it feel to pet your own students? Is it very cool? Hurry up and finish the ingredients, and come to me to practice. I want to see if you have been lazy during this period. Bai Yu smiled and continued to sleep. Then, Hatake Kakashi turned into a cold hunting machine without a soul, who only knew how to hunt. Excluding Bai Yu, there were 20 people in the group. After completing the task assigned by Bai Yu, the sun also set. You take Hinata, Sakura, Tenten, Ino, and Bai to live in whichever wooden house is bigger. The others are free to do whatever they want. Bai Yu gathered everyone together, and then said casually, originally, everyone was listening to the first part very seriously, but the latter part was just casually mentioned, which made these men speechless. Are only girls babies? Who is not a baby? Exclamation mark. Teacher Bai Yu, where do you live? Uchiha Shizu, as the captain of the new 8 people, stepped forward and asked. You don't have to worry about me, because from tomorrow, I will become a demon. By the way, you 5, don't worry about these little guys from tomorrow. Don't tell them how to face it, and don't tell them anything. Of course, ordinary chat is not allowed. Bai Yu said with ill intentions, and imitated the bird's call again. This is the code word of the dragon group. You 5, if you want these little guys to grow up quickly, just hold back your sympathy and pity. If any of you can't help it, I just need to find out once, and then you will become dumb during the entire training period. Bai Yu said in code. Understood. Accepted. Hatake Kakashi, my guy, Uchiha Shizu, Sarutobi Asuma, and Yuhi Kurenai all looked reluctant at first, then they became firm, and responded in code. Especially you, Kurenai. You'd better hold back your overflowing sympathy, otherwise, your sympathy will be used on Asuma. Bai Yu glanced at Yuhi Kurenai, and said in code. Why, teacher? Yuhi Kurenai asked in confusion. Asuma is your boyfriend. If you dare to protect him, I will beat him, and break his limbs, so that you will have no time to protect him, and can only take care of him. Bai Yu said viciously. Yuhi Kurenai blushed and responded shyly. However, Sarutobi Asuma did not feel happy, but his whole body was cold, especially his limbs. Exclamation mark. Okay, I've said everything I need to say. Wait until Naruto recovers his mental state. Let him go. Kakashi, pay more attention to him. This time Bai Yu used normal Mandarin. Hatake Kakashi responded, but the others were puzzled when they saw Uzumaki Naruto hanging on the tree. The 2 lively guys, Inuzuka Kiba and Baiheyo, who saw the process, began to share what they saw and heard. Yamanaka Ino pulled Hiruno Sakura aside and whispered about Uzumaki Naruto. Although the 2 girls always quarreled and even fought because of Uchiha Sasuke, this could not change the fact that the 2 were good girlfriends. And Yamanaka Ino had let it go. It would be fine if you let it go. You can make money if you let it go. Ahem. Kakashi, follow me. Bai Yu then shouted loudly and slowly walked to the side. Hatake Kakashi sighed, looked at the sky with a pair of dead fish eyes, gritted his teeth, and followed Bai Yu away, and finally the 2 disappeared. But a moment later, a harsh and huge sound of metal collision was heard not far away. Then there was the sound of fists hitting flesh. Then, I only heard Hatake Kakashi shouting storm release. Heavenly punishment. The sky was instantly covered with dark clouds, and huge blue-purple thunder gathered in the air. Boom. Crack. Or thunder as thick as a bucket struck in the distance. Kakashi, what the hell is this? Electric current? After such a long time, you can only use this technique to this extent? Bai Yu looked at Hatake Kakashi with a relaxed face, and then said with a little disappointment, but the praise hidden in his eyes was not discovered by Hatake Kakashi. Sorry, teacher. I will work hard to advance to the primary level of quasi-shadow. Hatake Kakashi was panting at this time, his body was torn, and full of cracks, and even his mask was cut 3 times, but Bai Yu controlled it very well and there was no bleeding. Hatake Kakashi said helplessly. He had no temper for this godlike teacher. Let me show you the real heavenly punishment. Bai Yu said with a smile. Yes, teacher. Hatake Kakashi said respectfully, letting Bai Yu abuse him thousands of times, and still treating Bai Yu like his first love. Heavenly punishment. Bai Yu's face was serious, and the purple gold magic power on his body was boiling. The sky was covered with dark clouds again, but this time, the gloomy sky had a hint of oppressive breath. Everyone far away in the temporary training ground felt it, and their breathing was suppressed a little. The purple gold lightning in the sky rolled and moved, slowly gathering. The teeth grinding sound of thunder and lightning made people uncomfortable before attacking. Accompanied by Bai Yu's majestic roar, an immeasurable lightning struck the ground. Moreover, this lightning did not attack one place unilaterally, but differentiated into countless powerful lightning, and the attack area covered a certain range. First there was light, then the earth trembled, and then the forest vaporized, and the land vaporized as a whole. After the ruins appeared, the deafening thunder was heard. Seeing Bai Yu's operation, a sentence popped up in Kakashi Hatake's mind. Teacher, are you trying to drive me crazy with this action? Because the energy consumption was too great, Kakashi Hatake fainted with happiness. Chapter 371, Chunin Exam Pre-Training 4. Bai Yu carried Hatake Kakashi like a little chicken and slowly returned to the temporary training ground. He threw Hatake Kakashi to Might Guy. Might Guy caught his best friend, and the distressed look in his eyes made Bai Yu shudder all over. Okay, have a good rest tonight. Tomorrow we will start the formal training. Guy, Asuma, Shisu, and Hong, you guys will work hard and be responsible for cooking. And Kakashi, wait for him to wake up and tell him. I'm leaving first. I'm going to figure out how to deal with these little guys. Bai Yu left a terrifying smile and disappeared. This night is destined to be a sleepless night. Although the power displayed by Bai Yu is only the tip of the iceberg, it is enough to shock the 12 children. Because in their impression, Bai Yu has always been a kind elder, and they never thought that after Bai Yu entered the state, he would not do anything about human affairs. Why are there 12? Uzumaki Naruto has not woken up yet, and Bai Ying and Bai Heiyo have long been accustomed to it. The next day, these little guys got up early and were very obedient and active. Why? Bai Yu put a detonating talisman next to the pillows of these children. All the children gathered outside the wooden house, but they all looked at Bai Yu with anger. Master Bai Yu, are you going to kill us? Inozuka Kiba, who was very angry, looked at Bai Yu with a smile on his face and shouted angrily. No, no, no. To be precise, it should be called slaughter. Bai Yu's smiling face gradually turned into a murderous face. Why? Inozuka Kiba asked angrily. Why? Then let me ask you, why do you want to be a ninja? Bai Yu asked coldly with murderous intent. I want to be a Hokage. Inozuka Kiba said loudly with a look of yearning for holiness. At this moment, Bai Yu was about to say something. Hokage. The 2 words made Uzumaki Naruto, who was hanging on the tree, regain his look. Damn it. Uncle Bai Yu. You devil, you actually killed me. Hey, no, I'm not dead. What's going on? Uzumaki Naruto is indeed a man with a big nerve. After waking up, he cursed for a while, then stared blankly at his surroundings. Why are all things upside down? Bai Yu's murderous aura subsided a little, and with a wave of his hand, Uzumaki Naruto suddenly fell from the tree. The defenseless Uzumaki Naruto fell straight to the ground. Ah! Uzumaki Naruto fell head first, screamed in pain, then rubbed his head for a while, looked around. Hey, it's back. It's normal. But when Uzumaki Naruto saw Bai Yu, he immediately got excited. Uncle Bai Yu. How could you do this? You actually killed me. Uzumaki Naruto walked to Bai Yu with blazing eyes, glared at Bai Yu, and shouted loudly, "Are you dead?" Bai Yu asked coldly. No. Uzumaki Naruto was stunned and said subconsciously, "Get back to the queue." Bai Yu continued to say coldly, "Well, okay." Uzumaki Naruto said, and then returned to the queue. Exclamation mark. That's not right, obviously, but I'm not dead. Uzumaki Naruto was puzzled, always felt something was wrong, but he didn't react. You said you wanted to be Hokage. Childish, you are just a genin now. What I asked is why you want to be a ninja. Bai Yu then continued to ask coldly, I became a ninja to make the people in the village recognize me. I feel bad when I think of myself being called a prankster by others. Uzumaki Naruto said firmly. Haha, recognize that you are not a simple prankster? Bai Yu said sarcastically. Uzumaki Naruto was speechless. I became a ninja to prove that girls can also become excellent ninjas, just like Tsunade-sama. It makes people respect me. Hiruno Sakura said righteously at this time. At Tsunade, she relies on her own strength and amazing talent to achieve the level of awe. What about you? Bai Yu said coldly again. I have talent. I became a ninja to prove that I'm the strongest ninja. Uchiha Sasuke said coldly at this time. You have talent. I admit it, but you are only a genin now. To become the strongest ninja, Bai Yu said coldly. Master Bai Yu, then why did you become a ninja? Inosuke Kiba looked at the arrogant and domineering Bai Yu and asked indignantly. When I became a genin, all I thought about was getting stronger and stronger so that I could survive in that war-torn era. When I became a chunin, I thought about getting stronger and stronger and protecting the people and things I wanted to protect. When I became a jonin, I still thought about getting stronger and protecting. What is the purpose of being a ninja? I have been thinking about this question all my life. Why do I want to be a ninja? I'm still not sure if my thoughts on this question are right. I can only say that I became a ninja in order to have the ability to protect everything I want to protect. I don't have such a big picture. I don't have that much compassion. I just want to protect my lover, my friends, my brothers, my apprentices, and everything I care about. The position of Hokage, everyone's recognition, and awe are all clouds. As for becoming the strongest ninja, this is just a sparse and ordinary thing. If you want to protect everything you care about, you must have strong strength. In a word, I think the most basic thing to be a ninja is strength and protection. Can your genin strength go to the battlefield? Exclamation mark. Can your genin strength resist the enemies who harm your compatriots? Exclamation mark. Can the strength of your genin allow you to protect yourself in the ninja world? Exclamation mark. If not, then shut up. In my training camp, work hard to improve your strength, and you can quit. I, Bai Yu, am not willing to teach a coward. Now tell me, do you still have the face to disobey? Trash. Bai Yu's murderous aura and cold voice made these children look a little pale. There was a burst of shame on everyone's face, including Uchiha Sasuke, but they couldn't refute it. The ninja world is a stage for fists, and they are really a bunch of trash now. Bai Yu looked around and retracted his murderous aura. He said coldly, everyone, put on adjustable weight-bearing clothes. Kakashi, Asuma, Kei, Han, Shisu, follow the minimum standard of new training, and then reduce it by 1/3, and adjust it for them. That teacher, the chakras of the 5 of us are still sealed by you, and you just helped Kakashi to unlock it yesterday. Asuma said weakly. Damn it. You won't let Kakashi help you guys out. Shame on you. I'll make sure these rubbish runs 10 laps around the inner circle of the trap. Bai Yu said and disappeared. Sarutobi Asuma's face also turned red. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372, Guidance Before the Chunin Exams. For a week, these 15 children lived in dire straits. They had to eat carefully, sleep carefully, train carefully, walk carefully, and even go to the toilet carefully. Why? They were afraid of being poisoned when eating, afraid of being hung on a tree when sleeping, afraid of being scratched by ninjutsu when training, afraid of encountering traps when walking, and afraid of encountering poisonous insects and poisons when going to the toilet, when they were feeling comfortable. After a week, Bai Yu split into 15 clones to provide one-on-one training. It was aimed at Uzumaki Naruto, the first mouth-to-mouth king of Konoha and the most nervous ninja in Konoha. Bai Yu's teaching to Uzumaki Naruto was to use the body to feel the ninjutsu, remember the ninjutsu, and rely on feeling. Under Bai Yu's whipping, Uzumaki Naruto's control over the Nine Tails chakra has been significantly improved. As for ninjutsu, well, Bai Yu did not teach it. Uzumaki Naruto's hand seal speed is really touching. It's so slow that people can't wait to find a coffin board to press themselves down. Helplessly, Bai Yu had to pass on the principle of Benquan to Uzumaki Naruto. With the Nine Tails chakra replacing the internal force of the previous life, the effect is still very obvious. Benquan is all about one word, Beng! Exclamation mark. Beng chakra. The power of Benquan circulates in the body. In addition to Bengjin, it also requires pressure, rapping, jumping, shaking, stepping, etc. It is often required that one power must contain 8 kinds of mixed power, such as top, twisting, grinding, flipping, kicking, fierce, smooth, and penetrating. These mixed powers must be practiced one by one, layer by layer. Some power cannot be obtained without oral instruction from famous masters. Therefore, the predecessors of Zangyuan often say that it is easy to practice boxing, but it is difficult to find power. The biggest feature of Benquan's power is Bengjin. It adopts the method of storing first and then releasing, first loosening and then tightening. When approaching the opponent, it suddenly releases the most fierce, and cruel power. Legend has it that there is a set of 5 whips that are unrivaled in the world. Cough cough. Off topic. Despite Bai Yu's whipping, the progress bar of Uzumaki Naruto's learning of the collapse first rose quite touchingly. There was no way around it. The quintessence of a great country, these natives still had a far worse ability to understand it. As for Zyoli, it was much easier. Bai Yu didn't need to say much. His passion was comparable to Kei's, erupting all the time. As Kei's favorite disciple, Kei had already passed on his Bajikwan and other boxing techniques to Zyoli. Therefore, Bai Yu's guidance to Zyoli was just sparring. Sparring again. Cultivate awareness and combat experience in high-intensity combat. Moreover, at Zyoli's strong request, Bai Yu gave Zyoli the adjustable weight-bearing jacket and adjusted the weight to half of the new training standard. Zyoli's desperate training mode, Bai Yu said, "This child, the dragon group must have!" Exclamation mark. Hyuga Neji and Hyuga Hinata, as geniuses of the Hyuga family, are already outstanding. However, the Hyuga family's means of attack are a bit softer. They directly use chakra to block the enemy's flow and defeat the enemy with skills. This made Bai Yu curl his lips a little, but he didn't say anything. After all, the whole family is like this. In battle, Bai Yu still prefers the violent fighting mode. However, Bai Yu still handed over the supranational quintessence of acupoint tapping to Hyuga Neji and Hyuga Hinata. However, these two little natives once again gave Bai Yu some sense of superiority as a time traveler. This understanding ability, wow. Touching. In the end, Bai Yu summarized and simplified it, fixing the arms, legs, head, death points, mute points, and the corresponding acupoint releasing techniques. Now the progress bars of Hyuga Neji and Hyuga Hinata have been greatly improved. What was given to Hiruno Sakura was Wing Chun and the technique of exerting force with inch force. It must be said that Hiruno Sakura is indeed a top student. In just one day, she actually memorized the meridians, acupoints, muscles, etc. on her body clearly by rote. Bai Yu thought that Hiruno Sakura could master the inch force, but she died as soon as she made a move. She just remembered it, but the operation, tut tut. But Uchiha Sasuke surprised Bai Yu. "Sasuke, what do you want to learn? But it's only 1 month, and you may not be able to master something too complicated," Bai Yu said to Uchiha Sasuke with a cold and arrogant face. But Bai Yu knew that this child had such a personality. Apart from his personality, he was still a good child. Uncle Bai Yu, I heard from my brother that it was you who stimulated his Sharingan that year, so he improved so quickly. Can you help me stimulate it too? Uchiha Sasuke said respectfully. For Bai Yu, even a proud and arrogant person like Uchiha Sasuke had to be respectful. Oh. Then do you know that your brother was facing the threat of death back then? Are you sure you want more stimulation? Bai Yu was stunned for a moment and said with a smile, I'm sure. I want to be the strongest ninja, and I have also seriously thought about protection. I also have people I want to protect, my father, mother, brother, and, in short, please help me stimulate Uncle Bai Yu. The Uchiha clan is most proud of this pair of Sharingan, and I also want to achieve higher achievements in Sharingan. Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but look at Hiruno Sakura, and then took a complicated look at Uzumaki Naruto, who was self-harming, and said sincerely, why is Uzumaki Naruto self-harming? Because Uzumaki Naruto's brain is not very smart, he can only use his body to control it. The condensed chakra collapsed in his body before it could be circulated to his fist. Fortunately, Uzumaki Naruto has a super strong physique and is resistant. Is that so? But, are you sure that only Sharingan can make you achieve higher achievements? Bai Yu did not say yes or no, but just asked Uchiha Sasuke back. Then he looked at Uchiha Sasuke mysteriously. Uncle Bai Yu, please help me solve this puzzle. Uchiha Sasuke bowed and said respectfully. Let's put it this way. Hatake Kakashi doesn't have the Uzumaki clan's tough physique, nor does he have a huge chakra, nor a special bloodline limit. So why is he so famous in the ninja world? Might guy can't use ninjutsu, but he has made great achievements in physical skills. Uchiha Obito, his eyes are also the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, but his name is the Flame Messenger. Why is that? No matter who you are, as long as you find your own way, you will become powerful. Although Hatake Kakashi has my guidance, he has achieved the Storm Release bloodline limit through his own efforts, and his Storm Release ninja sword technique has made him famous. My guy, although he always shouts about passion and youth, it is this blind, persistent and animal-like self-abuse that makes him as good as a cage-level master in physical skills. Uchiha Obito, relying on his persistence, has studied the changes in fire attribute chakra to the extreme, and his gorgeous fire release ninjutsu has become a killer. I have said so much. I ask you, Sasuke, where is your path? Bai Yu said leisurely. Chapter 373, Guidelines before the Chunin exam part 2. Sasuke, where is your path? Where is your path? Where is the path? This sentence kept playing in Uchiha Sasuke's mind. Uchiha Sasuke was stunned. Yes, where is his path? Everyone has his own path. So what about mine? Genjutsu? No, I only know some simple Genjutsu. Taijutsu, but my Taijutsu is not as good as Naruto in some aspects. Hidden weapons? Impossible. When my brother was my age, he used hidden weapons better than me. Ninjutsu? So I don't know anything? Exclamation mark. Haha. Exclamation mark. I used to be called a genius, but I don't know anything. I'm not good at anything. I can't reach the top in anything. I'm a waste. Exclamation mark. Uchiha Sasuke's breath was a little disordered, and his face was filled with a hideous and unnatural smile. Bai Yu frowned. Is this kid stupid? Exclamation mark. He doesn't even know his own path. Ha, a native. No, I have an advantage. I must have advantages. 6 kinds of wind, fire, thunder, water, earth, and yin. These are my advantages. Haha. I know my way. I know. Haha. Uchiha Sasuke laughed freely, laughed happily. Hiruno Sakura was stunned, obsessed. Regardless of Bai Yu's scolding, she stared at Uchiha Sasuke with peach blossoms in her eyes. Exclamation mark. Yamanaka Ino regretted it. After a while, she let it go. After a while, she was injured. After a while, she fainted. Fortunately, Bai Yu was by his side, and the green light flashed, and continued to hurt himself. Uzumaki Naruto was also stunned when he saw Uchiha Sasuke laughing. This guy actually laughed! Exclamation mark. It must be said that Uchiha Sasuke is still very attractive. He perfectly avoided the rough appearance of Uchiha Fugaku, selected some places where Uchiha Fugaku's appearance was acceptable, and integrated the appearance of Uchiha Missy. When it's cold, it's like ice. Although it's cold, people can't really see Uchiha Sasuke's appearance from that distance. But at this moment, Uchiha Sasuke, with a smile on his face, is so arrogant. From this moment on, Uchiha Sasuke has changed, completely changed. Just because of one person, Bai Yu! Exclamation mark. Uncle Bai Yu. Thank you, I understand. But before that, I hope you can help me stimulate the Sharingan, which is my pride. From this moment on, my pride is the Sharingan, and my pride is the path I choose. Uchiha Sasuke said with a smile on his face. That evil, arrogant smile. It's undoubtedly fatal. Hiruno Sakura on the side blushed and fainted. It's exciting, but not now. Even if it's exciting, I have to seal your eyes. Let's do it this way first. I don't want Fugaku's little son to be in danger. Bai Yu said with a smile. Okay, I won't be so persistent. Uncle Bai Yu, I want you to teach me a set of swordsmanship and a kind of ninjutsu. A ninjutsu that can help me grow like Teacher Kakashi. Of course, there are also changes in the properties of all attribute chakras. Uchiha Sasuke said with a smile. No problem. Bai Yu agreed with a smile. And he took out a pretty good long sword from his collection. This is a single-edged long sword, which Bai Yu called the Kusanagi sword. Its biggest feature is that it can be extended indefinitely according to the injection of chakra. Bai Yu looked at the arrogant and handsome Uchiha Sasuke, and with a turn of his eyes, he gave Uchiha Sasuke a set of handsome and powerful free and easy swordsmanship. The ethereal body movements, the chic and free swordsmanship, plus Bai Yu's evil and charming face, would be even more beautiful if he held a needle, paired with a tall hat and a red gown, and pinching an orchid finger. So fragrant! Exclamation mark. Dad, you are hiding something from me. You never taught me this sword technique. Bai Yu's saliva almost flowed out when he saw this sword technique. He was sure that if he had used this sword technique to brush up in school before graduation, he would no longer be single. Bai Yu looked at Bai Yu's clone anxiously and dissatisfiedly and shouted loudly, "You little bastard. I will teach you this alone, and now I want to train you," Bai Yu said with ill intentions. Then, Bai Yu started to practice sword techniques that were worse than death. Basically, Bai Yu cut Bai Yu's neck with a sword, and then a green light restored him. Bai Yu smiled and glanced at the serious and focused Ju Yang, who was still training silently regardless of any movement around him. Her face flushed and then returned to normal and continued to concentrate her mental power. What surprised Bai Yu was that, although Uchiha Sasuke used the Sharingan to copy his sword technique abruptly, and even left blood, he just remembered it. And holding the Kusanagi sword, from the initial awkwardness to the later proficiency, the process was very fast. Uncle Bai Yu, am I doing well in practice? Uchiha Sasuke asked with a smile, but unlike Uzumaki Naruto's boasting, Uchiha Sasuke was very humble to ask Bai Yu for advice. The Zyoyo sword technique emphasizes freedom, elegance, and lightness. But after all, you have just started, so you just need to practice more and gain more insights in the future. Now I will teach you a ninjutsu. It's called Thunder Release, Kirin. But if you want to master this technique thoroughly, then quickly upgrade to an elite jonin. Otherwise, one use will use up your chakra. Bai Yu said calmly. Got it, Uncle Bai Yu. Uchiha Sasuke nodded seriously. Bai Yu made seals with both hands and deliberately slowed down his movements. He knew that Uchiha Sasuke would definitely remember this with the Sharingan, so he slowed down a lot in order to prevent his eyes from bleeding. So much so that Hatake Kakashi was secretly learning from Bai Yu in the tree next to him. How could Bai Yu not notice it? However, he didn't say anything. As the seal was completed, the purple gold mana around Bai Yu surged, and two fierce and vivid thunder unicorns condensed on both sides of Bai Yu. Go. Bai Yu pointed to a big tree next to him. Roar. Boom, the two thunder unicorns roared fiercely, merged into one, and quickly ran towards the big tree, and a thunder exploded. With the big tree as the center, the area of 10 meters was instantly turned into scorched earth. However, this was also because Bai Yu suppressed some mana, otherwise the effect would be more intense. Uchiha Sasuke's eyes lit up when he saw this. Then he also formed a hand seal, but two blue kittens appeared beside Uchiha Sasuke, and their appearance was not very clear. Uchiha Sasuke just pointed to the distance. Meow. Then Uchiha Sasuke fainted. Chakra is exhausted. How much chakra can a genin have? Exclamation mark. Bai Yu's clone smiled helplessly when he saw this and sent Uchiha Sasuke back to the wooden house and then disappeared with a thud. Shikamaru is needless to say. Akimichi Chouji Bai Yu taught him a more practical instant body technique, and from then on Akimichi Chouji became a flexible fat man. Yamana Kurino, Bai Yu taught her a barrier, the kind of barrier that can exist in the spiritual space. After all, after performing the secret method, Yamana Kurino's body can't move. What if? Chapter 374, Guidelines before the Chunin exam part 3. This barrier is still very important to Yamana Kurino. Then there is Shienshin. Bai Yu still has a headache about Shienshin. She can't use many ninjutsu, she has no talent for illusion, and her physical skills are not as good as Zyoli. His summoning skills are all summon beasts, while she only has a kunai or shuriken, which are all ninja tools. However, Bai Yu saw in the information that Shienshin is very mature in the use of hidden weapons. But what's the use of this? When you face a shadow level strongman, can your hidden weapon hurt him? Take the Reikijai for example, he just stands there, and you can't hurt him. Even if you cut his skin, it will be repaired in the next second. Bai Yu thought for a while and smiled softly. He thought too much. He was just dealing with a Chunin. Shienshin, what do you think about the battle after the Chunin exam? Bai Yu had some ideas in his mind and asked. Although he had some ideas, Bai Yu still wanted to see what Shienshin thought. After all, the road is his own, not set by others. The path arranged by others may not be what you want, nor may it be suitable for you. Uncle Bai Yu, I know my talent. I can only achieve greater success if I start with hidden weapons. However, I also know that the power of hidden weapons is very limited. Maybe I can only be a special Jonin at most in my life. Shienshin was a little depressed. He lowered his head and looked at the scroll in his hand, saying unhappily, if you think so, you may not even be a Jonin. If a ninja loses the belief of becoming stronger, then his strength will not be that high. Bai Yu touched Shienshin's head and said with a smile. Shienshin raised his head and looked at Bai Yu's face with an inexplicable hope in his eyes. Uncle Bai Yu, is it still possible with my talent? Shienshin asked. If you rely on your own efforts, you will really stop at a special Jonin. Bai Yu said. Then you still say that, Shienshin was stunned for a moment, then said dissatisfiedly, and his eyes dimmed as he spoke. Everyone has a dream of being a strong person, but some people may or may not be able to achieve this dream, but for her, it is just waking and sleeping. Why, you have no confidence. By the way, do you like Heiwa? Bai Yu leaned close to Shienshin's ear and asked quietly. The real Bai Yu, who was originally resting with his eyes closed on the tree, suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Shienshin. He was also very interested in this question. How could I? Shienshin blushed first, then quickly glanced at Bai Yu who was practicing swords seriously, and then his face became even redder. But when Shienshin looked at Bai Yu again, he was shy for a while, then his eyes were stunned for a while, and then dimmed. Don't worry, uncle, I won't bother Bai Yu in the future. Shienshin then added. Silly child, you misunderstood. As a person who has been through it, Bai Yu immediately understood what was going on. Bai Yu still likes Shienshin very much. The dress and manners of the big country element are not only grand and unpretentious, but also very cute, and he looks pretty good. As for strength, Bai Yu can fight 8 people at once. Even if he is a fool, Bai Yu can make him a peerless strong man. It's just a matter of time. Shienshin looked at Bai Yu without saying anything, but there was a suppressed light of hope in his eyes. You like Heiwa? In fact, I have discovered it a long time ago, but I have never asked. Heiwa's IQ is okay, but his EQ is a bit low. I asked you, just because I was curious. As for what will happen between you two in the future, I won't care. This is your own business. To be honest, I still hope that you will be my daughter-in-law. As long as you two are sure of your relationship, you don't have to worry about Tsunade, Makoto, and Mimi. I will help you. How many people are there in your family? How are your parents? How are your parents' health? Does your family need anything? Bai Yu was checking the household registration here, but Bai Yu was still stupidly practicing sword. As Bai Yu asked questions, Xianshan's face became redder and redder. Xianshan, who was shy and embarrassed to a certain point, finally couldn't help it. Uncle Bai Yu, we are still in training. Xianshan said helplessly. Ah. Haha. Yes, I forgot. I will briefly tell you about your future path. If you think it is okay, I will teach you this way. After the Chunin exam is over, you can also come to me. Bai Yu touched his head awkwardly at first, and then said seriously, yes, Uncle Bai Yu. Xianshan also returned to normal, but his heart was filled with endless joy. Even Xianshan was still thinking that his father-in-law seemed to be quite good. Hidden weapons always have limitations. But fortunately, your chakra is still relatively good, and you are born with a talent for ninja tools, which is unmatched by ordinary people. A simple shuriken, when the enemy thinks he has dodged it, and then smiles arrogantly and disdainfully, the shuriken pierces the heart from behind. How do you feel about this feeling? Is it very cool? Bai Yu said with a wicked smile. Uncle Bai Yu, I still can't understand. Xianshan seemed to understand and had some ideas in his mind, but he still couldn't grasp them. Give a simple demonstration. Bai Yu said, and Xianshan nodded. Give me a shuriken. Bai Yu said to Xianshan. Xianshan quickly took out a shuriken from his ninja tool bag. Bai Yu took the shuriken, kept some distance from Xianshan, and then threw it to Xianshan casually. Xianshan subconsciously reacted and dodged. That's it? Uncle Bai Yu, isn't this too simple? Xianshan said with embarrassment. Is this what Uncle Bai Yu thinks? Too simple, right? Is Uncle Bai Yu telling me to surrender directly? Thinking about it, Xianshan felt that Bai Yu was playing a trick on her, and the dullness in her eyes crept into her eyes. Turn around. Bai Yu smiled wickedly and said lightly. Xianshan frowned, but still believed Bai Yu. Xianshan slowly turned around and looked. Ah. This. It didn't matter that he turned around. It scared Xianshan. He accidentally fell to the ground. When Xianshan turned around, she saw a shuriken emitting sharpness, coldly pointing at her forehead. Xianshan was sure that if Bai Yu wanted to kill her just now, this shuriken would definitely pierce the back of her head without anyone noticing. Exclamation mark. Too scary. Exclamation mark. Haha. How about it? Are you scared? Look carefully at the back half of the shuriken. Bai Yu laughed, then pointed at the shuriken, and said to Xianshan. Xianshan observed obediently, and saw that the shuriken was entangled by a nearly transparent, extremely thin but sometimes tough chakra thread, and was controlled by the chakra thread. Xianshan's pupils shrank when she saw this. Chapter 375, Deployment before the Chunin exam. Ah. This. Xianshan was so surprised that he couldn't speak. He was only filled with shock and extreme surprise. That's right. This is the chakra thread in puppetry. Uncle Bai Yu, you can do this. Uncle, you are so amazing. Xianshan praised Bai Yu without hiding it. I don't know why, but I felt so happy when Xianshan praised me like this. Maybe Bai Yu has already regarded Xianshan as his daughter-in-law in his heart. Haha. I don't know the chakra thread of puppetry. This is completely dependent on the control ability of chakra. Just a small trick. Bai Yu said with a smile. Uncle, teach me. Teach me. I now know what uncle means. I want it. Xianshan's excited smile was red. However, Bai Yu always felt that the last two words were weird, but he didn't think much about it. Well, from now on, I will give you super devil level chakra control training. You must be mentally prepared. Bai Yu said with a smile. Don't worry, I will accept any kind of hardship. At this time, Xianshan's eyes were full of fighting spirit. The opportunity is right in front of you. Whether it is brilliant or bleak depends on your own efforts. Afterwards, Bai Yu asked Xianshan to go back to sleep. Huh? Exclamation mark. Not only Mustard was confused, but Xianshan was also confused. Uncle, I'm going back to sleep? Xianshan asked in disbelief. What about the super devil level? What about the training? I want to remove the clone and let the original body study a set of methods. This road requires a lot of mental power and chakra. I have to study a set of training methods for your situation. So you go to sleep first. It will probably not take long before you can practice. Letting you sleep is just to replenish your mental state. After Bai Yu finished speaking, he changed into white mist. Xianxin was excited and jumped back to his wooden house. Bai Yu, who had closed his eyes to rest, frowned and then smiled helplessly. He was really tired. 10 minutes later, Bai Yu separated a clone. Go train Xianxin. Bai Yu said lazily, turned around, and continued to close his eyes to rest. The clone pouted and went to find Xianxin. I'm so tired after using my brain for 10 minutes. Bai Yu said to himself tiredly. Damn, where's my knife? The raw for mustard. Boom, the wooden house where Xianxin was exploded. Xianxin was sleeping soundly and suddenly felt a hot sensation on his face. He opened his eyes in a daze and saw a detonating talisman that had been ignited. There was a spark in the sky above him and it jumped onto Xianxin's face. In an instant, Xianxin woke up. He screamed and ran out of the wooden house at the moment of the explosion. The explosion behind him made Xianxin bend over and gasp. Just a little bit, he would have been blown to death. The airwave made Xianxin's adrenaline continue to rise. Don't stand there. Control the chakra on the surface of the body. Fight me. Bai Yu's cold voice rang in Xianxin's ears. Then a fist as big as a casserole hit Xianxin's face. Your reaction is too slow. Control the chakra. You are told to wrap it around your body, not to emit it. Don't just control it. Watch out for attacks. Is this the super devil level? Xianxin howled in pain. Controlling the chakra while dodging Bai Yu's attacks and maintaining the output of chakra. It's simply too difficult. However, with the previous life and death stimulation, adrenaline is constantly stimulating. Xianxin is making rapid progress. Looking at Xianxin, who has turned into a human sandbag, the other 11 couldn't help but shudder. Master Bai Yu, I also require such training. Tachibana Yang said firmly. Uncle Bai Yu, I also require such training. Uzumaki Naruto also said with great determination. Uncle Bai Yu, I also want such intensive training. Uchiha Sasuke said with a smile. Okay. Satisfy you. The 3 Bai Yu said with satisfaction, and then 3 more human sandbags appeared on the training ground. The training of Inuzuka Kiba is relatively simple. He has his own way and style. What Bai Yu can do is just to tell Inuzuka Kiba some formula medicines. This is a medicine that improves a Kamaru's physique, attack power, and speed. One is for long-term use, and the other is for temporary use without side effects. For Inuzuka Kiba, Bai Yu can only help him improve his combat experience. After all, the attack of their clan is too dependent on combat partners. It is not easy to change at the moment. As for Aburame Shino, Bai Yu helped him control the super nano little bugs of his father Aburame Shui. As for the abilities brought by the bugs, he needs to study them himself. After all, Bai Yu is not a bug player. But even so, Aburame Shino is already very grateful to Bai Yu. If it weren't for Bai Yu, it would probably take another 10 years for him to be able to master this kind of bug. While this side is in the intense pre-exam training, on the other side, the ninjas from the other 3 villages have already entered the territory of the Land of Fire. All positions must be tense from now on. Increase vigilance. Tsukumo, do a good job of border defense. All teams should be pulled out, and the security of the Land of Fire must be guaranteed. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing his 3rd generation Hokage's cloak, took out his previous momentum, and issued this order. Yes. Hatake Tsukumo said seriously, but Hatake Tsukumo's voice was a little old. This is normal, after all. Hatake Kakashi is already an adult. Shikaku, let all the teams of the upper ninja class take action. The defense of the village cannot afford any mistakes. Sarutobi Hiruzen then said to Narashikaku. Yes. Narashikaku said with a flash of coldness in his eyes. This trace of coldness was sent to the ninjas from other villages who were about to come. Fugaku. Hayashi. All police station forces mobilized. After the ninjas from each village enter Konoha, the streets in Konoha village will depend on you. Once there are suspicious ninjas, they must be arrested and interrogated. Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice. Yes. Uchiha Fugaku and Hyuga Hayashi said at the same time. With Bai Yu here, Konoha is now very different from before. The Konoha police station is also jointly responsible by the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan. The work of sweeping spies will be led by Bai Yu. The personnel will be selected from the Dragon Group, and you can transfer them at will. Sarutobi Hirozen looked at the back of the large conference room with an old look in his eyes. There stood a group of straight ninjas, all of whom were elite talents from the Anbu and the Dragon Group. Bai Yu was among them. Yes. Bai Yu, wearing the silver light armor of the Dragon Group, said heroically. Baiki, Itachi, now Shisu and Kakashi are not here. So, the two of you have to form two mobile teams. If there is any major incident in the village, the two of you must go to support quickly. The personnel can be selected from the Dragon Group and the Anbu at will. Sarutobi Hirozen said afterwards. Yes. Baiki and Itachi said in a serious voice. Genji, Asakura. After Bai Yu, Baiki, and Itachi have selected the personnel, lead all the Dragon Group ninjas to assist Tsukumo and Shikaku. Genji will assist Tsukumo, and Asakura will assist Shikaku. Sarutobi Hirozen said. Yes. Two dull but majestic voices came from the corner. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.